The little piece of fabric you find in your new clothes, often with a button on it, isn't for emergency hole patching. You can use it to test if the material fades or stains in the wash before you get the whole thing in and can seriously damage it. The drawer at the bottom of your stove will keep your food warm for when you throw a party and have to cook plenty of dishes. The one that's currently in the oven will pass on its heat to the one in the drawer. In case you never know how much pasta to put in for boiling, use the hole in the middle of your pasta spoon for reference. It measures up to exactly 1 portion of dry noodles. When it's ready, you can use the spoon to take your spaghetti out like you normally would. The large gaps between the floor and the door in public toilets are there to make you feel uncomfortable and leave faster. It's also easier to clean such spaces and safer in case of emergency. The tiny plastic disc under the lid of your soda bottle is there to keep your drink fizzy. The cap prevents the liquid from leaking out, and the plastic disc holds the gases inside. Don't try to clean your shoes with escalator brushes. They are there to mark the edges of the steps. If you get too close to the edge, you risk getting your shoelaces or loose hanging clothes in the gap between the stairs and the wall. When you feel the brush on your leg, you instinctively step back into safety. There are several theories explaining why the King of Hearts is the only one without a mustache. One says he was designed as part of a poem. The king had 4 sons, and only one was cleanly shaven. He left him with no inheritance. Another theory says the mustache was just lost in the reproduction of the original design because of a mistake. It could also be a way to show that he is more honest and noble than the other kings. The Ace of Spades is larger and better decorated than the others because of tax laws introduced in England around the 17th century. Card manufacturers had to pay so-called stamp duty tax. They added physical stamps on the highest card of the deck to show that they've paid the tax. The tradition to decorate the Ace of Spades in such a way remained even after the tax had been cancelled. A jerry can hold its contents even in the craziest of roads. Its triple-barred handle across the top is designed to make sure the fuel inside is evenly distributed when 2 people are carrying it and hold on to it on either side. When you're doing it solo, use the middle handle to make things easier. The loops sticking out on the back of your boots are there to help you pull them on easier. Pull them up while you're trying to push your heel into the boot. You can also use them to hang your boots on the hook to dry after washing or when they're dirty. Or you can run the laces through them to tie them around your ankles. Most metallic zippers have little hidden groove locks inside to keep you from getting into some awkward situations. To help it do its job, don't leave the zipper handle in an upward position. It automatically locks when you pull it downwards. The strings on a pack of cotton pads are there to let you hang it on something. Tear the perforated line at the bottom of the pack to pull the pads out easier. The blue bristles on most toothbrushes are there to remind you when it's time to get a new one. When they fade, you gotta hit the store. When you get a new car or rent a vehicle while traveling, the little arrow on the gas pump will save you a bunch of time. It shows which side of the car the tank is on. You don't have to tear off one of the ends of stick sachets of sugar or salt. Instead, tear them down the middle. It's much easier and will leave you with fewer bits of paper. Bottles have long necks to let you enjoy your cold drink. Hold the neck instead of the body of the bottle, and the magic will work for you. The same is with fancy glasses. Hold it by the stem, and you won't heat it with your hand. Doorknobs are often made of brass, bronze, or some other copper alloys to protect you from harmful bacteria. These materials have the superpower of getting rid of germs on their own within a couple of hours. You can use metal loops on the sides of a grocery cart to organize your space smarter. Hang your jacket or a bag of delicate items like eggs or bread on the loop, and voila! Your jacket won't get wrinkled and the eggs won't get squished. Twist your pop can tab around and use the hole on the other end to put a straw through it. The special oval-shaped compartment under the flap of the Tic Tac container is there to make it easier to extract one little mint at a time. Your earphones have holes in the bottoms to let air circulate up and down through the speakers. It improves sound quality and gives you better low frequencies, making the bass sound deeper. The black lines on the basketball are there to make the game easier to play. They're actually grooves helping you handle the ball. Control is crucially important for players that need to move around the court while bouncing the ball. The black lines give you a better grip of the ball. They also let you easily steer it in any direction once it's in your hand. You wouldn't be able to do it with a smooth basketball. The microwave door seems completely black when you aren't using it, but as soon as you turn it on, you can see through it. It doesn't have black glass in it, but a special mesh against regular glass. It keeps all the microwave energy inside safely. Don't throw away silica gel you find in bags, shoes, and many other new things you buy. This gel absorbs excess moisture. A few packets can save your shoes after a walk in the rain. Bath foam has an important function in addition to its delicious smell. It helps regulate the water temperature and keeps it nicely warm for longer. It only works for acrylic bathtubs though. Metal ones lose heat quickly anyway. Thanks to the metal tip with a small dot on the end of a measuring tape, you can hang it on a nail or a screw to use it without anyone's help. If the tip has a row of sharp points around the edge, you can use that side to leave marks without a pencil. The 57 etched into the neck of a glass ketchup bottle is there to make your life easier. It shows you the best spot to tap to get the sauce out of the bottle. Just turn the bottle at an angle and hit exactly on that point to get it flowing. The little sharp point on an ointment tube cap will help you easily open the foil layer most tubes are sealed with. If you put together all the UK coins from a penny to the 50p piece together with their backs, you'll see the royal coat of arms. Back in the day when coins were made of real gold and silver, people used to shave off pieces from the side to melt them into a new coin. To stop this, coin minters started using a pattern with ridges on its edges. This way, you could easily tell if someone tampered with the coin. That's why nickels and pennies still have smooth edges, and dimes and quarters come with ridges. The half belt you see on many trench and pea coats was originally invented for men in the military. They had oversized jackets that were also used as blankets. The half belt helped them gather the extra material and hold it so they could walk normally. The tiny bumps on the F and J keys on your keyboard are there to help you find the right key without even looking down. You're supposed to place your index fingers of both hands on them when you start blind typing. The little dot between the camera and the flash on the back of your iPhone is the third microphone used for noise cancellation during a conversation and better sound quality during video recording. The cap of your detergent can help you figure out exactly how much of it you need. Pay attention to the marker on it. If it's not that obvious, study the instructions. It'll let you know how to measure the detergent. Converse shoes were originally designed for basketball players. The 2 extra holes on the side near the bottom were added to them to fit any basketball player's foot. Thanks to them, sportsmen were able to customize the fit and keep the laces in place. Paper margins were invented to prevent important information from being eaten by rats. The critters would normally chew books and papers on the edges, so people stopped writing close to them. The dimples on the surface of the golf ball increase its lift and reduce air resistance. It helps the ball go further. These dimples don't have to be spherical. They can be of any shape. Consult a specialist when choosing a ball to get the best performance. The red side of the eraser rubs the pencil particles out of the paper. The blue side is stiffer and scrubs off a thin layer from the paper itself. That's why it's for tougher grades of paper, no matter if you're trying to get rid of pen or pencil. When your utility knife is getting dull, use the removable part on the end of the handle to snap off the dull piece of the blade. You'll get a new sharp one. A pen cap has a small hole in the top in case you accidentally swallow it. Thanks to it, your airway won't be blocked. A regular can opener is a handier alternative to scissors. Run it along the edge of some packaging and enjoy never struggling to open anything again. If you want to create easily removable temporary staples, rotate the stapler base and the pins will be bent outward. A lid on a paper or plastic to-go cup makes an excellent coaster. It's exactly the right size to fit the bottom of the cup. The lid's lips also catch dripping condensation from cold drinks. You can use your nail polish to make a protective seal or stick some things together. It will do the trick thanks to its adhesive and waterproofing abilities. Your suit jacket most likely comes with an extra pocket on the right side. This is a ticket pocket that was originally invented to store coins for people on horseback to pay toll booths without having to open their jackets. Later, it was used to hold train tickets and passes. The pocket on the left chest was used to store handkerchiefs and keep them clean. The two zips for one section of your bag are there to safeguard it from pickpockets. If you put a small lock between the two zippers, no one will be able to open your backpack without you knowing. The crown of the Statue of Liberty has 7 points, one for each continent of the world. The Lady Liberty wasn't always green. It was made from copper and iron of shiny brown color when it first arrived in America from France. Over the years, the copper started to oxidize, and the statue became green as we know it today. The statue was initially supposed to serve as a lighthouse for ships sailing under the New York harbor. It was used for this purpose for 16 years, but the light wasn't bright enough. There was an idea to cover it in gold to make it brighter. That idea didn't go through with Congress. The tiny holes in the bottoms of locks are there to let the excess water drain out easily on rainy days to avoid corrosion. It's also the perfect spot to add oil to make it open and close easier. The right way to store peanut butter is upside down. When you keep the jar in this position, the oils don't come up on the surface. They put buttons on the left side of women's garments because it was easier for the right-handed maids to dress them. Even though most people dress themselves these days, the tradition remains. Buttonholes on a shirt are mostly vertical, but the top and sometimes bottom are horizontal. These two slip out more often than other buttons. The horizontal buttonhole is more likely to stop your garment from opening when you least expect it. Tri-colored toothpaste with red for gums, white for whitening teeth, and blue for fresh breath is just a marketing trick. Any soil-colored toothpaste has all the same components. They're just mixed up. The curves on a bobby pin aren't there to make it look fancier. The true purpose for that zigzag is to grip the pin into place. It holds the underlying bulk of hair way better than the smooth side. So, the right way to wear those pins is wavy side down. Your Chinese food container can easily transform into a plate. You just have to open it up. The best part is you don't have to clean it afterwards. If your box of chocolates comes with a little dent in between the holes, the easiest way to take the candy out is to push the dent. The chocolates around it will instantly pop out. You can learn when your bread was baked by the colorful plastic tag on its bag. They add blue tags on Monday, Tuesday is green tag day, Thursday, red, Friday, white, and on Saturday, you can buy fresh bread with a yellow tag. Most pants have creases running down the front due to historical reasons. When it was really expensive to transport goods, they tried to squeeze in as many pairs as possible. Folded pants got heavily pressed to take less space. They couldn't get rid of creases later and made them something fashionable. The hole in the elevator doors the size of a dime is a keyhole. If you get stuck inside, an operator can insert a special key in this hole to open the doors manually. They use the same tool when an elevator needs routine maintenance. The hole in the middle of a donut isn't there for an easier grip. It makes mass baking easier, with all donuts being evenly cooked all the way through. At first, you could only find diamond slits on backpacks if they were traveler bags. Their only purpose was to carry ropes. Now, such slits are on pretty much every backpack. You can use them to carry a bottle of water, an umbrella, or a pair of sneakers. For those cases when you buy a yogurt but you don't have a spoon with you, use the foil lid instead. Twist it to the shape of a spoon and you're good. There are magnetic locks on fuel hoses at gas stations. They can help you out if you decide to drive away with the gas nozzle still attached to the car. In this case, the lock detaches the hose automatically. There's a theory explaining the true purpose of pom-poms on clothing. French sailors used to hit their heads against the cabins of their boats when out at sea. They invented pom-poms to soften the bump. The little rubber bumps in the grooves of your tire tread are there to remind you it's time to change your tires. When the edges of your tread are even with the bumps, it's a sign to hit the tire shop. If the edge is above that of the bump, you're good to keep going for a while. The hole in a lollipop stick isn't a bonus whistle, like many people think. It's designed to save you from choking if it gets stuck in your throat. The tab on the bottom of your rearview mirror can save you from blinding caused by a car behind you. Just push it back when driving at night and pull it forward again during the day. The hole near the rim of your bathroom sink will save you from overflows. Thanks to it, all excess water is redirected into the siphon. It also helps your sink drain faster. The hole gives the air in the siphon somewhere to escape. The black dots on your car windshield are called frits. The black enamel baked during the manufacturing process helps preserve the sealant bonding the glass to the frame. The dots are gradually dissolving from a solid black band into a dot matrix to distribute temperature evenly to lessen optical distortion. The symbols on your cosmetics all have an important meaning. The little open jar icon is the period after opening symbol. It informs you how long the product will stay good after the package is unsealed. The time is usually shown in months, so it's a number and a letter M. The hourglass or egg timer is the best before end of symbol. They put it on products with a lifespan of less than 30 months. The green dot symbol used in Europe is a sign that the manufacturer pays for ecologically responsible recycling of their packaging waste. Before you use a plunger on a clogged kitchen sink or toilet, make sure you've got the right tool. If it has a standard bowl-shaped rubber head, it's perfect for flat surfaces, such as a sink or a tub. The one designed for toilet pipes has a narrower head. Pre-rinsing dishes before a dishwasher doesn't always help the cleaning process. Special sensors inside modern dishwashers can tell how dirty your plates are. They send a controlled jet of water to wash all that stuff off. All you really have to do is remove solid food from your plates and stack them properly. Your vegetable peeler can also help you shave off thin slices of onion. It will save you a bunch of time, stress, and tears. You can also use the peeler for slicing cheese. Little buttons on your jeans are called rivets. They were originally invented to prevent the seams from ripping. In the past, jeans were go-to clothing mostly for miners and other workers. That's why they had to be extra durable. The tradition of using rivets still lives even though jeans are often just a fashion item now. Wooden coat hangers aren't just made from any wood. The cedar wood used for their production is known to repel bugs and moths. Plus, it has a refreshing scent and is super durable. These hangers are perfect for heavy clothing that is more likely to get damaged by insects, such as coats and jackets or dresses, especially woolen ones. The tiny hole in the bottom of an airplane window allows airflow through to prevent too much pressure from building in the plane and busting the window as it rises in altitude. It also keeps the windows from fogging up with all the warm breath of the passengers. The extra little pocket on the side of your jeans, also known as the fifth pocket, was designed to keep the pocket watch in it. Gold miners in California in the mid-1800s needed that accessory to keep track of time, and jeans were their go-to clothing. The expensive watch stayed safe and sound in that pocket you can now use to keep anything from folded up cash to a stick of lip balm. Most childproof pill bottles have strange lids that are threaded on each side. One of these sides has regular threads and won't lock into place if you screw it on top of the pill bottle. So, if you have trouble removing the cap and don't mind turning it into a normal one, just use the other side of it. The keyboard has inherited its weird non-alphabetical order of letters from the typewriter. Originally, the keys were arranged in alphabetical order, but the typists were so fast the key arms often got cross-wired and stuck. Keyboard manufacturers decided to randomize the order to slow down the typists and keep the machines safe. The deep ridges or threads on audio jacks are made of an insulating material to protect the wires during sound transition. The number of bands shows which end goes where, and if there are 3 bands, 2 of them go per left and right ear, and the third band is for grounding and should be plugged into the stereo or amplifier. A McFlurry spoon comes with a square-shaped hole through the handle. Its purpose is to serve as an attachment to the machine that whisks the ice cream and toppings together. The bar of the machine conveniently slips into the spoon and stirs it like a drill spins a screw. They then give you your dessert with it to do less cleaning. If you see a 4-digit code on a fruit or vegetable sticker, in most cases, it means the producers used pesticides. Organic products will have stickers with 5 digits, and the first one will be 9. Genetically modified products will also have a 5-digit code, but the first number will be 8. The right way to pour milk or juice is from the other side of the carton. This way, the drink won't splash all over the place, and it will be easier for you to control the process. The little legs on your keyboard let you tilt it and see which keys you're hitting. A flat keyboard is way less tiring for your wrists though. You can use an olive spoon to lift olives, cherries, pickled garlic, and other products from liquid-filled jars, cans, or bowls. The hole in the middle is for draining the liquid that gathers in the spoon fast and easily. The grooves on restaurant toothpicks aren't designed to make them look fancier, but to avoid putting them on the table when your plate has been taken. They're made weaker to let you snap them and place the toothpick between the notches, pointy end up. The cylinder on the end of a cable is sitting there, useless as it might seem. In fact, this is a ferrite bead that assists with many electrical wires to reduce electromagnetic interference. Electrical wires act like unintentional antennas, broadcasting the EMI. There's a reason why the spinning wheel inside their microwave is circular. A circular object will evenly distribute the heat as opposed to a rectangular and square one. When you place containers of these shapes inside, the energy is focused on the corners rather than spread evenly like in a round container. The temperature gauge on a toaster is commonly used to determine how crisp you like your toast. But the other, more specific use for the gauge was for the different types of bread. White and sweet types of bread heat up much faster as opposed to heavier brown and rye ones. The older bread is, the more time it will need in a toaster to ensure the golden brown result you're looking for. Most ovens give you the option of leaving the door ajar when broiling a dish inside. You probably think the goal here is to help cool down the oven after use. In reality, its purpose is to focus on cooking the top of the dish and to ensure a crusty layer. Controlling the buildup of heat and steam by releasing it through the slightly ajar door gives you the desired result without cooking the entire dish to a crispy end. You probably have noticed that your dishwasher has specific areas for different types of cutleries and dishware. But all the dishware pieces should be facing towards the center and not all in one direction. What types of foods were on the plates will also determine where they should be located in the racks. As the middle of the machine gets the strongest spray, carb-based stains from tomatoes and potatoes should be placed there. The detergent is more focused on the outside during the clean, creating a waterfall-like cleanse. That's why protein-based stains, like from eggs for example, should be stacked there. Ceiling fans push cool air down on a hot day, circulating the room. But they can serve you during the winter just as effectively if you flick that switch on the side or use the pulley. So if you want to save some money on heating and try to quickly warm up your room on a cold day, turn the fan on. It will push the air up and spread the warm air around, more effectively warming the room up. Do you still use sticky notes instead of those fancy new apps on all possible gadgets? Welcome to the club. Regardless of what you use them for, they can annoyingly curl up. If you've had this issue, it's because you've peeled them from the bottom upwards. Doing it this way causes the curling. Peeling them from the side will ensure they remain flat, ready to remind you of your daily tasks. Did you know that can openers weren't invented until 50 years after preservation cans had been readily available? So how would it be possible to open a can? There are a couple of alternative methods just in case you've misplaced your trusty opener. All you need is a metal spoon. Set the can down on the counter, hold onto it firmly, and grasp the head of the spoon tightly. Apply pressure and vigorously rub the edge of the can's top over a small area. It takes time, but as you continuously rub, a small indentation soon opens a hole. Once the hole is wide enough for the spoon's tip, pry the lid upwards and keep going along the edges until you can finally access the hard-earned meal within. Most toilets rely on water pressure and gravity to function, so a power outage will not affect them. But if yours does need electricity to function, you must be worried about using it when the power is out. The good news is the power is only used to fill the toilet and not to flush it. As the flushing mechanism will still work, open the toilet tank and pour in a couple of gallons, and you're free to flush away whatever you need to. Blockages in shower drains occur over a long period of time. It's inevitable. We lose 50 to 100 hairs a day, and many of them will endeavor to reside within our shower drains. Hair only forms the foundations of the blockage, and this attracts the buildup of various other things. A great life hack is to use your vacuum cleaner and put the nozzle in the hole once removing the plug. Apply a wet cloth around the nozzle, ensuring air cannot escape. The vacuum will suck up the blockages a lot easier. This will help avoid any extra cost from plumbers, as they themselves use this technique. To make your candles last longer, trim their wicks multiple times and keep them as far away from water and moist as possible. It will guarantee that your candle's wax stays firm and steady and continues to burn slower for a longer period of time. The empty space between the panes of the oven door is there for a reason. You can stick a brush in there to clean the oven door glass. It's easy to access this space through the bottom of the door, open the lower shelf, then push the brush through the hole. While you're parking in a garage, you might find it difficult to determine how close to it you need to be. Not all cars have sensors ensuring you keep the right distance before the bumper makes an indentation on the wall. Applying a rope with a tennis ball from the ceiling at the right distance will help you learn the best distance to park from the wall. We've all been told to loosen a lock with WD-40 or lubricant. Yes, we all know we should have these around the house. But in case you don't, a great alternative is drawing with a gray lead pencil along the edges of the key and then putting it into the lock. Continue doing this until the keyhole has been adequately lubricated and the key functions smoothly. Pliers are prone to damage when you use them to adjust faucets and shower heads, and are also difficult to grip. Take a couple of pieces from the end of an old garden hose and attach them to the jaws of the pliers. You'll find a huge improvement with grip and will avoid wear and tear. You can find a good use for discarded rubber for different things around the house. When fed up with tightening or loosening with a screwdriver, try using a simple rubber band. Place part of it into the screw grip and the screwdriver will have far greater traction. Moving cement blocks isn't safe for your lower back. Even with a wheelbarrow, it can be a risky process to place the cement onto the ground without causing damage. 3 simple cylinder pipes can make a world of difference, regardless of the size of the block. Try lifting the edge onto the first pipe with a pry bar, then pushing and maneuvering as you gradually direct the 3 pipes towards the desired location. Just make sure you're not doing this on a slope. That first strike on a nail can be a great success or will result in a throbbing thumb. A bobby pin is perfectly shaped to hold a nail in place, allowing for your hand to be clear out of harm's way and for you to strike the nail without fear. Use a crayon instead of a pen or pencil while working with a wet saw to ensure the markings are not removed. They will also be easier to see under the murky water. Checking the drains on the roof and determining when they need to be cleaned can take a lot of time. Using duct tape, attach a mirror on the end of a long broom and review whether the drains need to be cleaned. To further assist with your balance as you check on the gutters, attach a pair of old trainers to the end of the ladder. The spread of the shoe and its grip will ensure a further level of safety. Liquid caulk normally comes in huge tubes, so you can never use it all at once. The hardened tips of liquid caulk create blockages. Grab a used cork and drill through it to make a perfect lid, concealing the liquid caulk. Now it's ready to be used again with no blockages. A label on your panties digging into your most sensitive spots is definitely not the best feeling. Sure, you can cut it off, but often that just leaves even sharper corners that can be more annoying. But what if you've been cutting those labels wrong this whole time? Check it out. On the left, the label is sewn into the seam, while on the right, it's just hanging on by a couple of threads. Just snip those threads, and voila! It's like the label was never even there. Plus, with this little hack, you can always pick panties in the store that are guaranteed to be comfy. If you've traveled to Europe recently, you may have noticed how nasty the bottle caps have become. Yeah, according to the law, they now have to scratch your nose. They have to be attached right to the bottle. If these bottles annoy you too, try this. Once you open the bottle, rotate the cap 90 degrees and pull until one of the plastic connections breaks. And finally, turn the bottle until the cap touches your chin, not your nose, and drink. You've been using the colander in the wrong way all this time. This smart kitchen device has a hidden function. The traditional way of draining noodles involves dumping boiled noodles into a colander, right? But if your colander is about the same size as your pot, try this instead. Place the colander on top of the pot with the noodles, like a lid, and drain the water out. This method is faster and less messy, and it keeps your noodles in the pot where they belong. Toilet plungers and sink plungers are quite different, and the toilet version has a handy rubber flap called a flange that pops out from the cup. This flange fits snugly over toilet drains, giving you strong suction to tackle stubborn clogs. While a sink plunger won't help with toilet troubles, the toilet plunger can work on your sink or tub. Just make sure to keep that flap tucked inside the cup. And don't forget to give it a thorough clean with bleach before switching from toilet to sink use. You definitely don't want to mix things up. If you still work in an office, next time you print out something, make sure to check out this stapler built right into the printer. It can staple all the documents that fit in the slot at the same time. By the way, it's not something new. Such printers have been around since the 90s. Why buy a ruler and spend your hard-earned dollars if you can simply use a dollar bill to measure whatever you want? Only as long as this whatever is somewhere around 6 inches. A dollar bill is just about this size. Even though many people are sure that those tiny holes on the bottom left side of your iPhone are the speaker, they're actually a microphone. And speaking of iPhones, if you've got one of the latest models and your phone is out of juice but there's no socket to be found nearby, here's a nifty trick. Grab a double-ended charger cord and connect it to another iPhone 15. Boom! Your phone gets a little power boost. I bet you've noticed that the hook on a tape measure is a little loose. Well, that's intentional. The hook moves just enough to account for its own thickness, ensuring both inside and outside measurements are accurate. So if you ever thought it was broken, nope, it's just doing its job. As for the hole at the end, it's replacing the tape on the edge of a nail to get measurements from odd spots. The pockets on new suits are sewn shut to keep the jacket's shape during transportation and display. Of course, you can unpick them to use the pockets, but you need to be careful with what you put there. Anything heavy can easily distort the suit's shape. The important thing, though, is to remember to cut the threads holding the back vents together for better movement and comfort. Oh, and remember to cut those tacky stitches that fasten your new coat's vent, that flap on the back. Now, that sink squeegee thing actually hides a big secret. It can store water. Many sink squeegees have tiny holes that allow water to stay inside. But why would we need that water? Oh, you can release it as you squeegee, which will help you rinse the sink as you clean it. Here's a travel tip that will help you understand U.S. highways. In the U.S., highways with even numbers run east-west, and those with odd numbers run north-south. If a highway number starts with an odd digit, it's a spur, which means it doesn't reconnect to the main highway. If it starts with an even digit, it's a loop around or through a city that eventually reconnects with the main highway. And finally, numbers divisible by 5 are major highways meant for cross-country travel. Your iPhone camera can also translate laundry symbols, identify plants, and even recognize some bird species. It's like having a mini encyclopedia in your pocket. Another trick: when using the markup feature while editing your photos, you might want to highlight a part of a picture. Put a circle around the needed area and keep your finger pressed down at the end of the stroke. Voila! Instead of a misshapen circle, you get a perfect one. It also works for squares, triangles, and stars. Barilla, probably the most famous pasta in the world, has teamed up with Spotify to create playlists that match the cooking time for different pasta shapes. Just start the playlist when you drop the pasta into boiling water, and when the music stops, your pasta is ready. Toasters have crumb trays at the bottom that you can and should clean regularly. Just slide it out and dump the crumbs. It's an easy way to keep your toaster clean and working well. You can use Google Maps to share your location in real time. Just tap your account icon, select Location Sharing, and choose how long to share. Your friends can track your progress and be ready when you arrive. You can also save your parking location by clicking the blue dot. Do you know that the knobs on some ovens have calibration screws on the back? You can adjust them to get more accurate temperature control. It'll definitely help you avoid overcooking or undercooking your meals. In non-prepaid gas stations in the US, try pressing Enter before swiping your debit or credit card. It'll take you to the prepaid screen, and you can enter the amount you need manually. If you're drinking outside on a windy day, place some coins in an empty cup, and then put the cup you're drinking from inside the first one. The weight of the coins will help you keep your drink from getting blown over. Simple, but effective. Once you've peeled your potato, you might spot some tiny divots, known as eyes, that still have some skin on them. Many peelers come with a handy scoop designed to tackle these little guys. Just take the scoop, dig in, and pop them out. Easy peasy. Your favorite potato recipe will be totally eye-free in no time. A cell phone's camera can help you to figure out whether your remote is working. The camera is sensitive to infrared, so you just need to turn it on and point the remote at the camera while pressing the remote's buttons. You'll see the LED flashing in response. If you spot nothing, something is definitely wrong with the remote. Bonus fact here: white vinegar isn't just for cooking, it's also the real laundry hero. If you add it to your laundry, it'll take out all the bad smells from your clothes. The amount to add can be anywhere from a splash to a cup during the wash. And don't worry about the vinegar smell. It washes away completely, leaving your clothes fresh. It's also great for removing hard water buildup.
Many shirts have 2 buttons on the cuffs, but only 1 buttonhole. So what is the second button for? Turns out you can use it whenever you're wearing a watch, so the cuff is looser. Most clothing items you buy come with a small bag of fabric or a button, or both. Buttons obviously can be used as a replacement if you lose the original ones. Pieces of fabric can be used to patch up a hole, but most importantly, it's a tester. You can use it to test different washing products on it and see what happens to the fabric. Some umbrellas have a tip at the top, and it turns out it's not just a pretty design. When going inside on a rainy day, you should just close your umbrella and tap the tip against the floor to drain the water faster and more effectively. Many backpacks have this diamond with 2 parallel cutout slits on its front, and it's there for your comfort. You can attach something to it, like a water bottle or shoes. It comes especially handy if you travel somewhere or go hiking, so you don't have to hold your stuff. Okay, the next thing is gear loops. And probably from the name of it, you already have an idea what they're there for. You can strap in some useful gear you need to have with you, like trekking poles or shovels. Some gear will need to be secured to do it. Drop the handle through the loop and rotate it upward. Then, secure it with the elastic hook at the top, and you're golden. On the back of many makeup and hygiene products, you can find this symbol with a marking, like 6M, 12M, and 24M. This is the number of months this product can serve after you open it, and before you should throw it out. The 2 sides of a cotton pad are different because each of them has a particular purpose. A cotton pad has several layers to ensure that it's soft, strong, and can absorb liquids. The edge is stitched to hold it all together. The smooth side of a pad is for applying products, like tonics and lotions. And the embossed side is best for cleansing and makeup removal. Also, any pack of cotton pads has those strings on the sides. They're there so you can hang the package somewhere. Then you can open the package at the bottom where the perforated line is and take them out. Did you know that there is an efficient way to pull a thread from yarn? When you pull from the outside, the yarn rolls away, so you need to hold it. However, if you pull it from the center, it will stay together. We're all familiar with staplers, but I bet you don't know all its secrets. Most staplers have a compartment to store spare staples, which can be located either on top or at the bottom. Also, surprise! This metal plate you press staples against can be turned around. This way, the device will be able to staple your documents by turning the metal ends outwards. No need to wonder whether you need to get a smaller or bigger container. Turns out, plastic food containers have volume measurements on their bottoms, indicating how much food they can fit. Ceiling fans come with a small switch on the inside of the blade. You might not have noticed it because it's not in plain sight, so check yours out. This switch allows you to change the direction of rotation. Now, why would you want to do that? The blades of a fan push the air in different directions, depending on the way they rotate. In the summer, you need the air to be pushed down to create the effect of a breeze. In the winter, the direction should be changed so that the air is pushed towards the ceiling. It then heats up before going down the walls. Have you noticed that the gas tank sign on cars' dashboards has a little arrow next to it? Well, this arrow has a purpose. It points at the side of the car where the gas tank is located. It's very useful for forgetful people who constantly wonder where their gas tank is, and also for those who drive rentals once in a while. The answer is right in front of your eyes. If you can't find the arrow on your panel, then the fuel hose on the icon indicates the side instead. All car tires have 12-digit numbers printed on them, and they're actually important codes for car owners if they want to get the right tire. The first letter identifies the type of tire. P stands for a tire for light passenger cars, and LT is for heavy vehicles. Then, the following numbers stand for the width of the tire, its radial, and its diameter. Measuring tapes have that metal stud on the end, which you can use to attach the tape to the surface you measure. This way, you don't need to hold it yourself. But there's also a small slot, which can be used to hang the tape on a nail, again to free your hands and keep measuring. The bottom of the end of the tape has a ridged edge. It will help you make a mark if you don't have a marking tool with you. On the tape, there are black diamonds that are placed every 19.2 inches. They're useful for construction workers when spacing engineering joists. They can also be useful for you if you want to hang something heavy, for example. The diamond will mark the exact center of a wooden joist. Those are placed 16 inches apart from one another. There, you can drill something to that center to make sure whatever you hang is safely attached to the joist instead of the unreliable thin wall. Pictures will survive, but it's particularly important if you're hanging something heavy. Did you know that batteries have an expiration date? Yes, it's printed right on their label, but I've never noticed it before. The expiration date doesn't mean you can't use it after that. It's more like a recommended usage period, after which the manufacturer can't guarantee full battery life due to deteriorated components. These little feet keyboards have are actually a standard. The height of a keyboard should be adjustable, allowing the angle between 0 degrees and 15 degrees. The reason to fold the feet out is for you to see the keys better, in case you don't type blindly. A little problem that comes with it is that, in this case, your wrists are bent, and it's not good to keep them in this position for a long time. Pans have those holes on the ends of their handles. They're not just there for you to hang them. You can also place your cooking spoon in there. It'll hang right above the pan, and the sauce will not spill around. Make sure to tap off the sauce or food beforehand, though, so that it doesn't go down the spoon's handle. Stickers with numbers you can find on fruits can tell you some information on how the food was grown. A 4-digit code that starts with a 4 means that the fruit was grown conventionally, meaning it contains chemicals and pesticides. So your best choice should be a fruit with a 5-digit number. And if you see the number 9, it indicates that the fruit is certified organic. On the bottom of plastic bottles, you can often notice a mark of a triangle with a number engraved in the middle. This number specifies the type of plastic that was used to produce the bottle. These codes help people and local recycling centers to sort returns. Products that were made of plastic of types 1 and 2 are the easiest ones to recycle. Plastics of types 3 through 7 are tougher to recycle.
Look up. See your ceiling fan? Okay, if you don't have a ceiling fan, just go with it and imagine you do. Well, it has a hidden feature that you probably don't know. It might be a switch on the fan itself or a button on the remote, but most fans have the ability to change directions. And there's a reason you really want it to. In winter, you want it to spin clockwise, which pushes all the hot air from the ceiling down. In the summer, you want to spin it counterclockwise to pull the cool air that pulls around the floor up to circulate around the room. This next one's a huge deal. Your microwave probably has a silent mode. Yeah, that's right. All your 3 a.m. burritos that you heated up with your finger hovering over the stop button to hit it 1 second before the timer went off could have actually been a lot less stressful. It depends on the mode, but by either pressing or holding the 0 or 1 button, you should be able to activate the silent mode. Now you can microwave to your heart's content anytime. Those springy door stops at your baseboards that make the boing sound aren't just door stops. They're also door holders. By holding them down and opening the door over them, the spring latches onto the bottom of the door and locks it open. Yeah, we all missed that one. Did you know you've probably been putting on your running shoes wrong? See, there's a small hole at the top where the laces end that's called a heel lock. Can you guess what it does? Yeah, it locks your heels. That way, they don't slip around and give you a blister or slide your sock down, which is just the worst feeling, isn't it? So what you're supposed to do is loop each lace into its heel lock hole, which creates a small loop. The opposite lace then goes through that loop. Tie your laces tight just like you normally would, and whoa, your heels are secure. Speaking of shoelaces, if you accidentally knot them so well that even you, with your incredible muscles, can't undo them, there's a common baking ingredient that has a hidden feature that can help. Yep, you heard me right, a baking ingredient. Cornstarch can make your gravy thicker, or it can untie stuck knots. It's so talented! Just sprinkle it on any knot, coating it completely, and it will slide free easily. It works on necklaces, ropes, yarn, etc. It doesn't work on knots in your muscles though, unfortunately. But hey, you can always give it a try. Uh-oh, did you put on your friend's ring without thinking how much smaller their hands are than yours? And now it's stuck. Just grab a bottle of Windex, my friend. Yup, Windex cleans your windows, of course, but it also has a neat little secret talent at removing stuck rings. A little spritz, and that bling will slide right off. Cool, huh? Why has no one ever taught us that? Let's say you're writing something in pencil, like an exam, but whoops, you forgot your eraser. Strangely, you didn't forget to bring your bread to the test. So you've got that, which is all you need to clear up that mistaken answer you just wrote down. Roll the bread up tightly until it has a texture best described as, well, eraser-like. Then go at it, erasing like you normally would. Why have the bread makers been hiding this from us? This could have been useful in so many situations when I brought bread to my school exams. If you wear leather jackets, first off, you're cool. Second off, you're probably missing out on a hidden feature that's not so hidden and is actually in plain sight. The straps on the top of the shoulders of your jacket aren't just for decoration. If you unbutton them while you slide on the straps of your bag, you can clip them shut again over your bag straps, locking them in place. No matter how many jumping jacks or cartwheels or breakdancing head spins you do, your bag is not going anywhere. When you need to wrap up some leftovers, tin foil is your friend. But it also has a place in the laundry room because of this secret use. Imagine you run out of dryer sheets. Your clothes come out of the dryer full of so much static that they make your hair stand up straight like a cartoon evil scientist's. Here's what you need to do. Crush up 2 sheets of tin foil into tight balls. Throw those clothes back in the dryer with the balls and give them another round. They'll come out static-free. After you make hard-boiled eggs, they're in hot water. Some would say boiling hot. So how do you get them out easily without reaching in? A whisk. Push it over the egg and it will pop into the wire cradle. Now you can pull it right out with ease and comfort. The colors of the clips on bread bags actually convey a secret meaning. They're showing you the day of the week that the loaf was packaged. Blue means Monday, brown means Tuesday, and white means Friday. Yeah, it's not just random colors. And most bread brands follow the same system because there's one company that supplies a lot of these clips. So when picking out the perfect loaf, you can gauge the freshness by the color.
Okay, I know it's kind of cold to the touch, especially on a freezing winter's day, but did you know that brass doorknobs actually serve a purpose apart from looking classy and shiny? Since it's a copper alloy, brass has antimicrobial properties. That means it can help get rid of harmful germs and bacteria, sometimes in up to 2 hours. In high-traffic areas, that's all the more useful, but since brass is much costlier than other metals like nickel and steel, you barely see these types of doorknobs anymore nowadays. Speaking of lovely multi-purpose items, most screwdrivers have a tiny little secret of their own. They can sometimes be slid through a wrench so that they can be used to create more torque when twisting, not to mention the uses when it comes to bolts in hard-to-reach places. There's a reason why buttons on women's shirts are for the left-handed, and it has nothing to do with fashion. This practice dates back to the times when chambermaids were helping ladies dress themselves, and it was easier for them to perform their job with this orientation. Having the buttons placed as such indicated a sign of wealth, so it's easy to imagine why the practice carried on, even though most people dress themselves nowadays. Next time you receive a package in your mail, take a look at your box cutter. If it features some diagonal lines on the blade, you're in for a little design perk. Turns out that these are blades that snap off. Continuously cutting cardboard can dull the sharp edge of the blade. To help prevent the need to buy a brand new box cutter, the top segment along the next line can be broken off to reach a new sharp edge. To do this, check out the small hole at the base of the tool, sometimes called the blade snapper. The people that first came up with this brilliant invention were engineers inspired by the way chocolate bars are segmented. Hold on a minute, don't throw away the cardboard package just yet. Most likely, you'll have some silica gel packets somewhere at the bottom of the box. Since this gel is basically a drawing tool, it gathers up the moisture out of its environment, so you can store these packets for further occasions, whether you'll need to dry out your phone or some other electrical object. You can place them in a container next to the silica gel to reduce the damage. You don't have to be a mechanic to know when a standard car tire needs replacing, since they come equipped with a neat indicator. Take a closer look, and you'll see that treads within the tire are a bunch of rubber notches. When the treads are evened out with the perpendicular bars, it's a sign you need to book an appointment with your local car service, since most likely the tires have lost most of their traction and may not be safe for driving any longer. The upper corners of a car windshield feature textured black dots melted into the glass edges. This neat add-on isn't there for design purposes. It's called frit glazing, which means that a special type of ceramic paint is added to the window for protecting its sealant from UV rays. It also conceals and creates a coarser surface for the adhesive used to set the window in place. Whenever you're up for a drive, check out if there's a small tab under your car's rearview mirror. Bet you didn't know it's there to help switch the mirror from daytime to nighttime views. It uses a prismatic glass technology to blur the reflection and reduce the glare of headlights behind you in traffic.
People came up with these manually tilted mirrors in the 1930s, but they became standard somewhere in the 1970s. While you're in the car, check out the headrests, as you most likely don't know that they carry a little disguised purpose. Of course, they're adjustable to accommodate passengers of any height so that they get the proper support for their heads and necks. The hidden feature is that they are detachable and come with two very solid metal bars. Should you ever find yourself stuck in a car and need to make a fast getaway, these bars come in handy to crack out the car windows. So you're out for a drive and you're suddenly out of gas. What I'm about to describe sounds more like a meme than an actual situation bound to happen. But what if you're in such a hurry that you accidentally drive off with the gas nozzle still in the tank? Well, the nozzles have been designed to prevent any hazards from happening, rest assured. They feature a breakaway device that will allow the hose to separate when taken out with enough force. Initially designed in the early 20th century to be worn exclusively by basketball players, sneakers soon became one of those fashion fundamentals, similar to jeans and leather jackets. If you take a closer look at them, you'll see they have two extra holes on the side, similar to the shoelace holes. They're manufactured as such not only to provide extra ventilation, but to allow people to get extra creative with their laces when wearing the shoes. Admit it, you've always thought that chopsticks are merged at the end for the sole purpose of keeping them together until you're ready to dig into your meal. That may or may not be the whole truth. Under a more detailed inspection, the wooden tools feature a square-shaped end. Chopsticks manufactured like this date back to an old Japanese traditional design, which can help with breaking the ends easily. The separated end can then be used as a resting block for the chopsticks to keep it more sanitized in hopes it can be used again, since they won't be touching the table or any other surface. Women's bikes have a special design which, surprisingly, has a historical and fashionable purpose. The lower frame is for the most part meant to make up for the generally shorter height of ladies, compared to that of the average gentleman. While that is the case for handlebars and saddles, the overall frame is lower for an additional purpose. Way back when women wore long skirts and dresses all day, every day they needed to make sure their outfits wouldn't get caught in the frame. That's how we came up with a lower-framed bicycle, perfectly made for women and their needs at the time. The fact that toothpastes are multicolored is not just a nice perk to make dental hygiene more fun. There's a secret meaning related to each of the colors, which dates back to the 1970s. In those days, people grew more and more interested in their oral health care, and as such, they were looking for products which could do more than merely clean their teeth. One company was the pioneer in that regard, adding mouthwash to its toothpaste, meaning the blue strip. They later added on the red strip, meant to feature ingredients which helped with gum care. Speaking of toothpaste, check the cap next time you open a new tube. You may be in for a little surprise. There's a pointed cone shape inside the cap, so you can puncture the seal of the toothpaste without cutting yourself or ruining your manicure. Not to mention, it's more hygienic since you won't be able to transfer germs or other bacteria into the product itself. On the subject of bathroom countertop items, toothbrushes come with a neat add-on hidden in the bristle patterns. Apart from making the toothbrush look cooler, they also do come with a practical purpose. Most toothbrushes come with a pattern of blue bristles intertwined with white ones. The blue dye is meant to fade out, signaling the time when you need to replace your toothbrush. Dentists say that toothbrushes should be replaced every 3 to 4 months, but it does serve as a great reminder in case you forget. Still love playing with Lego? Don't judge. Hey, it's a great hobby for all ages. Notice there's a hole on top of the Lego heads? Behold, you're looking at a safety feature that the people at Lego designed to prevent choking hazards. The most dangerous issue should a person swallow any of these pieces is the blocking of the airways. Designing a hole inside the Lego head helps the air to flow freely through the piece until it can be removed safely. We're now used to all sorts of modern light bulbs, some tubular, some shaped like diamonds, and some even twisted altogether. Historically, light bulbs were round and the initial shape served a purpose in itself. It was mainly connected to the fact that glass bulbs were hand-blown, which gave them the round shape to begin with. The hidden practical reason was that the light bulb filament needed to be at the same distance from every surface of the glass sphere. The easiest way to achieve this was to make the glass in the shape of a globe.
Various types of cheese have holes for a reason. For example, Swiss cheese is made with special bacteria that produce carbon dioxide. As the CO2 is emitted, it blows like bubblegum, leaving tiny craters, also known as cheese eyes. Then the cheese is cooled down, but the holes stay in place. Over 40 billion Oreos are made every single year. It's the world's most popular manufactured cookie. The geometric design stamped onto these cookies has the Nabisco logo, the symbol of European quality, surrounding the word Oreo. William Tournier created the chocolate cookie design we see today back in 1952. If you use reusable bottles, you probably know that sometimes they smell. Even if you only use it for regular water, it still smells. But it's not the water that smells, it's the microorganisms in it. If you drink water from a bottle, the particles of your saliva and sweat stay in there. Those bacteria start to build up in the bottle, causing the smell. So, if you choose reusable bottles, make sure to wash them every day to prevent those bacteria from building up. After washing, let it dry completely before using it again. Not only are the jeans blue, but the police officers' uniforms as well. The first official police officers appeared in the 19th century in London. They were given a blue uniform to contrast with the red and white uniform that military workers had already been wearing. 2 decades afterward, the police force was adopted in the USA, and they followed the patterns. The uniform is still blue nowadays because it proved to be a good color. It's not that visible in dark hours, and police officers can observe things and people staying unnoticed. Also, stains aren't that visible on dark material. And, well, everyone knows that police officers wear blue and they're recognized it. So, why change that? Baby carrots are tiny, and unlike regular carrots, wet, not unlike baby humans. Baby carrots aren't some special sort of carrot. They're actually made of regular carrots by cutting off the skin and outer layers and then polishing them to look that pretty. The problem is they can't retain moisture. A regular carrot retains some water inside because of the layers that lock it in. Once they're chopped out, baby carrots can dry out easily, so they usually sell them in bags with some water inside. Jeans have metal rivets, and they're there from the very beginning. Jacob Davis, the man who made the first pair of jeans, added copper rivets to spots where pants are more likely to rip, flies and pockets, to make them stronger. Today, they have more of a decorative purpose, since they are distinctive and traditional for jeans. Another special thing about jeans is those tiny pockets they have that seemingly serve no purpose. Well, maybe it's true now, but years ago, when many cowboys were wearing jeans, the pocket was made specifically to keep a pocket watch there. Also, back then, a pair of jeans had just 4 pockets. That tiny pocket, the watch pocket, 2 big pockets in front, and just 1 pocket in the back. Car headrests are all about comfort, and detachable headrests are all about safety. If you pull the headrest out, you'll see 2 sturdy metal bars. If you ever get locked or trapped in a car, you can use the bars to smash the window and get out. Those little red spots you sometimes see after you crack an egg are nothing to be worried about. Tiny blood spots can be caused by a small rupture in a blood vessel of a hen as it was laying the egg. Eggs with these blood spots are safe to eat, but that spot can be removed if you want. It won't affect the taste of the egg. Oh, that's comforting. Hidden within the Toblerone logo of the mountain is the image of a bear standing on its hind legs, about to eat that yodeler over there. No, not really. This is because bears are a big part of Bern, one of the biggest cities in Switzerland, where the founder created the triangular chocolate treat. Toblerone is also a play on the founder's family name, Tobler, and the Italian word Torrone for honey and almond nougat. The space below a cup of noodles is there to protect the noodles during transport. This technique is called a middle suspension. Not only are they protected better in their styrofoam cup, but it also helps those noodles soften more evenly and quickly. Even though you might have noticed that the hole on the barrel of ballpoint pens has no purpose, it does. It's called a venting system, which helps the ink flow more smoothly. This way, an even amount of air pressure is created inside and outside the pen, allowing the ink to flow into the point easily. It's not an accident that soy sauce bottles have two spouts. The sauce is liquid, and it flows out of the bottle pretty quickly once you turn it over. Most Asian food lovers will admit they've spilled it at least once in a lifetime. That's why nowadays, restaurants prefer serving soy sauce in special bottles that have two spouts. This design allows you to control when and how much sauce will come out. Just put your finger on one spout while you pour the sauce through another. If you press your finger tightly to the spout, the sauce will stop flowing, and if you remove your finger, it will flow again. And please do not remove your finger in a restaurant. It will freak everybody out. You've probably noticed that train and bus seats are covered in fabrics with weird patterns. Any idea why? They use these patterns to cover any germs and stains on the seat. Oh boy. The brighter the color and the more patterned it is, the harder it will be for a passenger to notice any stains and get grossed out. Also, the patterns are usually so ugly that no one even wants to look at them for long enough to spot any stains. So yeah, the pattern is there to make you look away, and if you look, to make it less noticeable. No bus will ever have plain white seats, that's a guarantee. The middle tab on soda cans can be flipped around. You can slip a straw in place so you don't have to hold it up to your mouth. This Stay On tab replaced the pull ring tab created in the early 60s. You remember those, don't you? Those could be quite sharp and easily discarded where they could be a menace for others. Now you can pop your straw straight into one. Also means you can produce some bubbles and make a mess like a 3-year-old. Sometimes, when you purchase an article of clothing, you receive a plastic baggie with an extra button and a swatch of fabric. While the fabric is clearly used to patch holes, it can also be used to test the effects of various cleaners on certain surfaces. It's handy, too, to test wash cycles before using them to wash the whole garment. Escalators have those fluffy black brushes for a similar reason that some have yellow lines on their steps, to try and deter people from getting too close to dangerous places. People don't always take notice, and sometimes clothing can drape close to the point where the step meets the edge or skirt. The brush is a little barrier to help prevent this from happening. They can also catch bits of fluff and prevent other small things from falling down into the gaps. Those takeaway containers most associated with Chinese restaurants are designed to not only carry your food home, but to store it in the fridge. They double as a plate, as you can eat straight out of them and don't have to worry about dirty dishes. Yay! They were actually patented way back in 1894 to transport freshly shucked oysters and were known as oyster pails. They were later adapted to use as leak-proof containers for food. Ever wondered why coins have those little ridges along the edge? It's a leftover from earlier times when they were worth more. Counterfeiters could easily file the edges off to sell as gold or silver coins to make some profit. The ridges were created so it was much easier to tell which of the coins had been altered. It's not needed today, but the coins still have that altered style. All crackers and some cookies have holes to make sure the final product has the right texture. These teeny tiny holes allow steam to escape, so your crackers and cookies won't snap. If it weren't for these holes, also known as dockers, steam would build up inside the treat, and the final result might have been scrumptious, but it would have been rather oddly shaped. Dogs like to walk in circles before snoozing because they inherited this behavior pattern from their ancestors. There were no special doggy beds back then, so most pooches would have to push down tall grass to make a sort of snoozing spot. Plus, as a bonus, those movements scared off all the critters lurking in the vegetation. Donuts are ring-shaped for a similar reason. If they hadn't had holes right in the center, the dough there would have always been undercooked. By the way, they're often associated with the police because back in the 1950s, donut shops were among the only places open late. They were a perfect place for police officers to grab something to eat and even deal with some paperwork during the night shift. Your jeans are blue on the outside and white on the inside because of a smart way to weave the fabric. The warp thread is dyed, while the weft thread has no color. It's just white. This way, manufacturers reduce the amount of dye needed for each piece of clothing. And they're still dyeing to make the jeans.
For all those days when you barely have time for breakfast, there's an easy way to enjoy a nice and fast meal. And it will also save you the hassle of doing the dishes afterwards. I'm talking about instant oatmeal packets. Some manufacturers have added this neat design to the oatmeal. The packet is lined with plastic, so you can directly pour water or milk straight into it. This way, you won't have to use a bowl anymore. You place the liquid in and shake. Some packaging also has a demarcation line to show how much liquid should go inside the pack for that quantity. Next time you have to switch apartments, you won't have to worry about carrying that heavy box of books. These days, most moving boxes are specially designed for easy transportation with built-in handles. Well, they're not actually handled, I'll admit. They're basically just holes inside the cardboard box on the sides. But if you slip your hands in, you'll surely notice the boxes become way easier to carry than picking them up altogether. With the onset of so many online reading options like ebooks or even apps on your phone that allow you to download novels, you've most likely forgotten about your local library. And hey, I'm not blaming you. But libraries these days offer a lot more services than you're used to, apart from free books and audiobook rental. Some of them have a variety of evening classes or can provide access to online courses. You may even be able to join a book club, which is a great way to meet new people, and you're guaranteed to get out of that reading slump you've been stuck in. I enjoy picking up dinner on my way home from my favorite takeout place, just as you do. But if the food containers are not completely sealed shut, the ride back can prove itself quite the culinary experience, if you know what I mean. Especially for the carpets in your car. Some cars have a curry hook near the center console, next to the driver's seat. It has been popular for 20 years and started as a handbag holder or a hook for a small shopping bag. But it quickly became the perfect way to store takeaway food and avoid spilling. I'm almost sure there's an umbrella somewhere in your car, but if I were to ask you where you're storing it, you'd most likely say the trunk, of course. But is that really the best place to keep it? Wouldn't you want to have an umbrella at hand, right when you get out of the car? Some car companies have thought about that, and don't worry, they don't come with a built-in butler to help you get out of the car all dry. Some specific models have a designated place in the driver's door panel that perfectly fits an umbrella. You have to admit, it's an important thing to consider when researching your next car, more so if you live in a rainy location. Whenever I plan to travel to a new location, I like to have access to the local maps on my phone at any given time. Since you can't always foresee the quality or price of the internet in foreign countries, be sure to download the maps on your phone when connected to Wi-Fi. This way, you'll have easy access to all the must-see locations on your next city break, even if you run out of mobile data. The same goes for Google Translate. The mobile app comes with the option of downloading a language, so you'll be able to use it offline. Another nice tip if you're more of the traveler type. If you own an iPhone, text an airline code and flight number to yourself. You'll then notice it will show up with an underline. When clicking on it, you'll be able to pull up flight data, like the gate the flight leaves from, or if the flight is on schedule. Flashlights are those objects that we tend to reach out for in an emergency, like whenever there's a power break, or when you need to take a quick trip in the attic for an old photo album or something. If you're ever in a sticky situation and the flashlight runs out of battery, have a look at its base under the battery spring. Some models come with a spare bulb hidden in there. If you're the type of person that likes to wake up early in the morning, but the rest of the people in your house enjoy sleeping in, there's a way you can still use your microwave to prepare breakfast without waking everyone up. It turns out, some of them come with a built-in mute function that gets rid of all the annoying rings and beeps. In the many times I've found myself driving on local roadways, I've noticed some apparently random blue reflectors here and there. Since I had no idea what they were, I did some research and found out they actually pinpoint the locations of fire hydrants. They're generally offset from the center line on either side, and the offset side tells if the hydrant is on the left or right side of the road to assist firefighters on their missions better.
Next time you get out of the car and forget to close all the windows, you won't have to get back in there. Just try this. Hold the keys on the door of your car pressed, and it should lock all the doors and shut all the windows. The same goes with opening all the doors. Just double-click the button. Most car models should come with this added option, but most people just forget or have no idea that they can do that. Whenever you're in that awkward position of messing up a voicemail, do you know there's a way you can delete or re-record the message, saving you the unnecessary embarrassment? Stay online after recording the message and dial either pound, number sign, or star, asterisk, to access the voicemail menu. Further instructions should be provided so you can decide what to do with the recording. Bagels are becoming more and more famous these days on options for breakfast or snacks because they're so tasty and so versatile. The problem is, I only want my bagel toasted on one side. Thankfully, some toasters come with a bagel setting, which ensures the pastry is toasted on either one of the two sides. Ever wondered why manhole covers only come in that round shape? It turns out that this is the only shape that cannot fall through the hole altogether. Any other shape, especially shapes with corners, could be rotated so that the lid could fall through. Here's a neat one if you enjoy a little massage whenever you're taking a shower. On most of the shower heads available these days, there should be a small metal filter in the back beneath the shower head once you unscrew it. If you give this piece a rough cleaning once in a while, you'll find the water pressure to be greatly improved. You may be able to save that wool sweater you've accidentally thrown in the washer and has shrunken down 3 sizes. Just go in the shower and grab a bottle of hair conditioner. Add it to some cold water in a tub and make a solution, and let the garment sit there for at least a couple of hours. The conditioner should help relax the wool fibers and loosen them back up, not to mention how nice it should smell afterwards. You might need to do a bit of research before you can safely use this trick. But just so that you know, there are some modern laptops with drainage channels. You heard that right. Precisely when you accidentally spilled coffee on it, they're designed to ensure any liquid that gets on the keyboard safely drains out at the bottom without damaging the electrical parts. Just make sure to not shake the laptop after you've spilled the liquid, so that the system can do its job correctly.
It's your birthday party. You made a wish and blew out the candles. It's time to cut this delicious round cake. Your guests can't wait to taste it. Wait a minute. Are you sure you actually know how to cut it? Normally, people prefer making V-shaped slices by default. Although this method is very popular, it's far from perfect. Some guests won't get enough frosting, while others will get too much. And besides, cakes are pretty fragile, so crumbs can fall all over the place. This alternative method went viral because of its incredible practicality. All you need to do is press a large cutting board against the cake very gently. Then slice the cake across horizontally and move the long piece onto the cutting board. Now you can cut one big slice into several smaller slices for the guests. This will give them a chance to order exactly as much or as little dessert as they really want. Wait, who wants just a little dessert? You will also prevent the leftover cake from drying out too soon. And if someone asks for more, just keep repeating the cutting board trick as many times as you need to. If the number of guests at your party doesn't match the small size of your cake, there's an easy tip to make sure everyone's served. Cut the cake into small cubes. Put them into paper baking cups and pierce the slices with a toothpick to make sure the layers don't fall apart. You can serve this cake canapé on a tray. When you don't have a knife at hand to cut a cake, dental floss will help you out. If you manage to do the work gently, the floss will glide through your cake with ease and keep the icing decoration in perfect order. This method is also very handy when you want to cut pie or cake layers horizontally. Of course, it's better to use dental floss with a neutral flavor if you don't want to feel the minty frost in your dessert. You're hanging some pictures or framed diplomas on a wall, I have several, but they refuse to hang straight. If you're using a wire and only one nail, it's very likely that the picture will get crooked. So the better solution is to use 2 nails. They will help the artwork stay there straight. Also, make sure that the wire is only as long as it needs to be. Otherwise, the excess slack will make the pictures stagger on the wall. And finally, you can use these small clear sticky tabs. Stick them on the bottom corner of either side of your frame pictures and prevent them from slipping. Now, even the highest quality markers stop working sooner or later, but that's not a reason to say goodbye to them. Glue the markers around the outer edge of a regular flower pot. Then spray this construction with gold paint. You'll get a glamorous vase that will spice up your interior. To complete this project, you can use not only a pot, but any other cylindrical vase or tin cans that match the size of your markers. Have you ever spilled your hot drink down on your clothes as you were walking from the cafeteria to your desk? Probably yes. Most people wrap their hands around the mug or use a handle. But none of these methods is perfect because they leave room for burns. Recent studies have revealed the best way to hold a coffee mug to prevent any spillage. And I bet you don't use it on a daily basis. Put your hands in a claw-like shape and grip your mug from above with your fingers. This will protect you from burning your palm and keeping your outfit tidy. And besides, it looks kind of elegant. Now, in case you didn't know, there are little tabs on the sides of your foil container. You're supposed to push those in. Now, when you pull the foil out, it's going to glide effortlessly, and the foil tube will be fixed in the container. Shoe stores usually sell their items with small plastic hangers. Don't rush to throw away this accessory, it's not so worthless. If your shoes ever get wet, you can use it to hang them on a radiator, so they dry quickly and evenly. This trick is especially handy when you get your feet wet on the way to work. If you like to wash and dry your shoes in a washing machine to keep them fresh and tidy, you know that it can get really noisy. To avoid the sound of rocks rolling around the drum, put your shoes and your laces inside a mesh laundry bag. If you don't have a laundry bag, try using an empty pillowcase. You can also put a large old towel in the washing machine together with your shoes. It'll rub against the shoes and provide additional cleaning. Just make sure you don't wipe your face with this towel afterward. Glass cleaning spray is a great emergency tool to restore your patent leather shoes. Just spray it on your shoes and wipe them using a soft dry cloth. Voila! Shining bright like a diamond. Got some creases on your shoes? No panic. Stuff your shoes tightly with some fabric to bring them back to their original shape. Then put a damp towel over the crease. Gently steam the crease with an iron. It'll get softer or disappear completely. Here's a genius tip for storing and serving fresh herbs. Cut and mix different herbs, then put them in a plastic bottle. Screw the cap and keep it in your fridge. Now you don't have to chop your herbs every time you're cooking something. You can also make an exclusive salad dressing. Just add some oil, spices, and sauce into this bottle and shake it to mix all the ingredients. When you're reheating your food in a microwave, some part of the meal gets too hot while the rest of it stays frosty. So, in case you've been looking for different tips to deal with this issue, here's the classic one. Put your food on a plate and make a hole in the center so that your meal is donut-shaped. This way, the microwave will heat it more evenly. But don't put the dish in the center of the turntable. To heat it evenly, it's best to keep it on the outer edge. If you need to heat up 2 meals at the same time, put a clean upside-down cup inside the microwave. Then put your second plate on top of that cup. There you go. It's easy and time-saving. You can squeeze lemon juice out using ordinary kitchen tongs. Cut the lemon in half and put 1/2 into the tongs. Now press them under a bowl to collect the juice. Add some water, sugar, and ice, and enjoy your lemonade. You're cooking popcorn in a microwave and can't wait to start watching the new episode of your favorite show. After 1 or 2 minutes of microwaving, little hard kernels still stay on the bottom of the popcorn bag. People tend to grab them by mistake. Biting these little betrayers can be fatal for your teeth. But luckily, there's a little slit in the bottom of the bag. Here's what you're supposed to do. When your popcorn is ready, don't rush to open the bag. Turn the bag upside down and shake it vigorously under a bowl. All the unpopped kernels will come out. Now you can enjoy your snack safely. If you have accidentally burnt the food on your stove and want to avoid dealing with fire detectors, here's a simple trick. One of the best ways to remove smoke quickly is to use a half-wet towel. Hold on to the dry side of the towel and keep flinging it around over your head. The damp part of the towel will absorb the solid particles in the smoke very quickly. And there's no need to use a knife to peel kiwi. Just cut off the top and the bottom of the kiwi. Then gently insert a tablespoon inside of the kiwi and twist it to separate the skin from the fruit. Wow, your kiwi is now peeled. However, some people prefer eating kiwi with skin. It's perfectly edible and provides lots of fiber, folate, and antioxidants. So, if you don't mind this fluffy texture, go ahead. But don't forget to wash it first.
You know that weird feeling when your eyes are seeing one thing, but your body feels something different? Yeah, that's motion sickness. Turns out 8 out of 10 people feel it pretty bad. Sure, you could pop some pills or grab those motion sickness glasses if you're not a fan of Big Pharma, but let's be honest, those glasses can be a bit hit or miss. Now, if you've just splurged on a shiny new iPhone, you're in luck. Apple rolled out this feature to help with motion sickness. It tends to hit hardest when you're reading or scrolling instead of just staring out the window. So, Apple invented vehicle motion cues. With this feature, you can use your phone in the car. Just don't be the one driving. Here's how it works. Tiny animated dots appear around the edges of your screen, syncing with the car's movement to keep your senses chill. Your iPhone uses built-in sensors to know when you're cruising and adjusts automatically. You can set it up to pop up on its own or toggle it from the control center whenever you need a little help. No need to press any buttons to restart your iPhone if you're using iOS 18. The revamped control center keeps all your favorite controls: brightness, volume, orientation, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and adds a shiny new restart button. Just swipe down from the top right corner of your screen and press and hold that new power button. Don't just tap it. Think of it like a game of hold the button until something cool happens. After a second, the power off slider will pop up. When you're ready to bring your iPhone back to life, just hold down the side button. Easy peasy. It's like magic, but without the rabbits. The iPhone flashlight just got a major glow up. With iOS 18, not only can you adjust the brightness, but now you can also tweak the beam width. If you got a compatible model, that is. Turn on your flashlight through the lock screen or control center, and you'll see a fresh user interface pop up in the dynamic island. Swipe up and down to play with the brightness, and swipe left and right to change the beam width. And if you want to turn it off, just tap anywhere in the dynamic island. Next time you're throwing a party at your place, you'll see there will be people asking you to give them the password for Wi-Fi. You can make it all easier by creating a QR code for everyone who might need to use your network. Got some friends over and want to share your Wi-Fi without the hassle? Even if the person scanning the QR code isn't in your contacts, it's not a problem. This works like a charm for those outside your digital circle. You can even share your Wi-Fi with your Android friends this way. To create a code, just open a new Passwords app. Head to the Wi-Fi section, tap on your network, and hit Show Network QR Code. Have your friends scan it with their cameras, and boom, they're online. If your home screen starts to look like a digital junk drawer, iOS 18 got you covered. You can now ditch those app labels below the icons if you're confident you can recognize your apps just by their thumbnails. To give your home screen a cleaner look, just press and hold a blank spot until everything starts wobbling. Yes, you're in jiggle mode. Then, tap on Edit. Customize. At the bottom, select the large option to make your icons bigger. All done. There's one more makeover iOS 18 finally gives the setting menu. You don't need to scroll through a bunch of system and third-party apps crammed at the bottom. They've all been neatly tucked away under an Apps menu, clean and tidy. Now, when you dive into the main menus, you'll see a little description at the top to guide you. For instance, open the General menu, and you'll get a quick heads up. Manage your overall setup and preferences for iPhone, like software updates, device language, CarPlay, AirDrop, and more. You'll find similar summaries in other sections too, like accessibility and privacy and security. For iOS 18, there's also a smart dialer, making it easier to find your contacts. It's a T9-based system. Yeah, the kind Android users have enjoyed for ages. It lets you type a name using the number pad. So if you want to reach Max, just punch in 629. The system will guess who you're trying to call and show you the contact at the top. The Notes app just leveled up with 2 new features to boost your productivity. Now you can type in a math expression and hit equals to see the result in real time. Need to track your trip expenses, monthly subscriptions, or split that dinner bill? Just pop in the equation right in Notes. You don't need to hop back and forth to the calculator. Plus, the app keeps tabs on your recent notes, so you can switch things up easily. Just tap that 3-dot menu at the top, hit Recent Notes, and you're back to whatever you were working on faster than you can say multitasking. By the way, you can now add color to your text in the notes. Choose from 5 hues: purple, pink, orange, mint, and blue. Now your important points won't just blend in with the rest of the text. They'll pop like a neon sign. Just hit the AA icon and you'll find the color options waiting for you. Now, you don't have to upgrade to the iPhone 16 just to hit pause on your video recording. That's right, the cool pause button is part of the iOS 18 update for all compatible iPhones. So, when you start recording, you'll see that pause button pop up in the corner. It's a game changer for social media influencers who want to snag the perfect shot. Because let's face it, how else are you supposed to get that flawless clip for Instagram or TikTok? You've probably heard about the new Photos app in iOS 18. It's got this cool collections feature that organizes your photos by themes like recent days, pinned collections, trips, memories, and people and pets. If you want to tweak things a bit, just scroll down to the bottom of the app and hit Customize. You can remove, reorder, or add sections to make it just how you like it. It's like rearranging your sock drawer, but way more fun. Apple has also revamped the Utilities menu, making it super easy to find all sorts of goodies like receipts, handwriting, illustrations, QR codes, and documents. Just open up the same Photos app, scroll down to the Utilities menu, pick a category, and boom! You've got the images you need in a flash. Later this year, Apple's rolling out one more cool new feature: eye tracking. It's like magic for people who need a little extra help. Imagine controlling your iPad or iPhone just with your eyes. Yep, the secret sauce is AI. Setting it up is a breeze thanks to the front camera, and don't sweat it about privacy. All your data stays on your device. No sneaky peeking from Apple. You'll be able to use eye tracking across all your favorite apps on iPadOS and iOS. With this nifty feature, you'll navigate apps and even activate stuff just by looking at it. That's right, swipe, tap, and hit buttons all with a glance. Music haptics is a new way for people who are deaf or hard of hearing to vibe with music on their iPhones. When you turn this feature on, the Taptic engine cranks out taps and vibrations that sync up with the music. So far, it only works with some songs available on Apple Music, but there are millions of them. Developers can even use the API to bring this musical magic to their own apps. Vision OS is having new accessibility features this year too. First, there will be system-wide live captions. This means everyone, including those who are deaf or hard of hearing, can follow along with conversations and app audio. And for FaceTime users, live captions will make connecting with others even easier using their persona. Basically, it means you have a beauty filter right when you call.
Hey Brightsiders, how many of these things do you really know the meaning of? Let's see how you go. On the back of most beauty products, you'll find a small open jar symbol that's there to show you the useful lifetime of the item. For example, 2M means 2 months, 30M is 30 months after opening. I always thought those were for how many uses you get out of the product. Whoops. I don't know how this one was found out, but Nintendo Switch cartridges have a hidden safety function and it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. Although non-toxic, the notonium benzoate coats the cartridge in a sour, peppery, and bitter substance to prevent people from swallowing them. Being one of the most bitter flavors known to humanity, it's commonly used to keep people from consuming things they're not meant to. Honestly, who found this out? Those different colored bread tags use a color-coded system to show the day that they were baked on. They're usually blue tags for Mondays, green tags Tuesdays, red tags Thursdays, white tags Fridays, and yellow tags for Saturdays. Apparently, no bread is baked on a Sunday. German chocolate cake is one of the most delicious cakes out there, but its name has nothing to do with the country at all. Named after an American baker named Samuel German, who made the tasty treat in 1852. All I know is that it's delightful, and no, you can't have a piece. Sports drinks seem to be the most prized possession of sports people. All those bright-colored drinks filled with electrolytes will increase performance and rehydrate you fast. The problem is, we're not all athletes. Your exercise habits, the duration and intensity of your training all come into whether you need that extra boost. I guess I'll just stick to water then? That space at the bottom of noodle cups surely has a purpose, but what could it be? It's for protecting the noodles using a technique called middle suspension, not to give you less. Notice how they're rarely broken compared to packets? Not only less likely to break, but it also helps those tasty noodles soften more evenly and quickly. I would have never guessed that. I certainly don't miss when my professor used to write notes in the margin of my notebook. Little did most of us know that it wasn't its purpose at all. They're an old practice for rat protection. Rats used to nibble on the paper of the books, so they invented the column so that the writing would be safe if the little animals got hungry. Maybe the rats just also had homework and wanted to take some paper home instead. Above the inside of car doors, you'll usually find a handle. Its purpose isn't just something to hold on to when someone drives like a rally car driver. These handles are actually very useful to someone with limited mobility trying to get in and out of the car. The driver's door often lacks a handle, but one of the possible reasons makes sense. The steering wheel itself can function as a handle if needed. Probably be hard to get in with the limited driver space using a handle anyways. Have a look at how your zipper sits the next time you've put on a pair of pants, shirts, or skirt. If it's in an upward position, you might be unlucky and have it unzip at a bad time. Push the little zipper tab downwards and it will automatically lock. No more embarrassing moments for me anymore. Those ridge lines on toothpicks aren't there to make it fancy. They're designed to break off. After snapping the tab off, you can then replace it as a holder for your toothpick. Now it won't touch the table and get all dirty. Remember to put the pointy end down on it. I shouldn't have had to say that, but you never know. A pencil mistake was easy to fix. You just used the pink side, right? With ink though, you just turn the eraser around for the blue part, but it just seemed to wreck the paper instead. That's because the blue part was also for pencil mistakes. It was made for thicker pages like art pages or for when the softer pink side couldn't get the job done right. The number of pages I destroyed before I found this out is crazy. Really need that gaming fix, but your internet is down? Google has you covered. Instead of panicking, press that spacebar when you see the little pixelated dinosaur next to the unable to connect to the internet or no internet display instead of a web page. Dodge those obstacles and get a high score. This little Easter egg has become a beloved game. Be careful, it's addictive. Speaking of, where's my phone now? During the colder months, putting on a beanie is normal to avoid having your head from freezing. That fluffy pom-pom on top must be how they get rid of all that extra material. Well, you can thank the French sailors for that on top. to stop them from banging their heads on the low ceiling of the ship. A little warning that they were a little too close to the roof. The design changed into what we know now today, and that's how the cute little pom-poms ended up on our beanies. Pay attention to any watch advertisement and you'll notice that the time displayed should be 10 past 10. Apart from looking a little like a smile, the brand name of the watch is usually directly below the 12, so it draws more attention to it. Isn't it weird how every clock face seems to be advertised that way? I wish it was the smile reason though. The diamond leather patch on backpacks isn't just a weird decoration, it's there to hold your joggers or other items as well. Backpacks are made for the outdoors, and with so many pockets to hold water bottles, pens, maps, and occasionally a tiny dog, it makes sense to have your muddy joggers on the outside of your bag rather than in it. I prefer its other name, Pig Snout. Pouring milk out of a carton can sometimes lead to accidents, but there's no need to cry over spilled milk. Try this simple trick that will confuse you. Turn the carton around and pour that way. It may seem weird, but you'll actually never get that clogging effect ever again when you try it. We've all done this one. Pulled some plastic wrap to then have the roll jump out of the box as well. Instead of being frustrated, my friends, here's something we've all missed. There are little cardboard tabs on the sides that can be pushed into to hold the tube inside, making it easy to glide the film out. Mind blown! Elevators have many tricks to them. Some we can use like pressing the floor button twice to turn it off, or if you're lucky, holding the closed door button and your floor together to go right there. But what about that secret hole that looks like an air hole in the outside door? Is it used by spies or secret agents? As cool as that would be, it's simply a hole for maintenance people to open and fix any problems. I'd prefer the secret agent to use it, but at least we know what it's for now. Next time you're on a plane, look above each window and you'll notice some little triangles sitting above some of the windows. They're to show the flight crew the best spots to view the plane's flaps through the window. Not because the designer thought triangles were cool. Sitting between the wings puts you in the direct center of the plane and offers the smoothest possible ride if you get airsick as well. That's where I'm going to sit on my next flight. Those escalator brushes are really great at brushing off any dirt left on your shoes, but they're not there for that, even though I must say that they do a good job at it. These bristles are a big safety feature. Loose clothing, shoelaces, and bags can get sucked into the machine when they're too close to the sides. The job of the little brushes is to tickle you or make a loud sound against the fabric. This is meant to alert to move away from the edge and not see what the inside of the machine looks like. I always thought it was a spider crawling on me, so they obviously do a good job to keep your feet away. That's it for today. See you next time, Brightsiders.
Now, it should come as no surprise that most things around us seem to have a hidden purpose. Hey, down at the aquarium, they have a hidden porpoise. But I digress. Now, please tell me in the comments if you like my joke or about how many of these 26 multi-porpoise thingamabobs you knew about before. It's cool either way. Let's go! Check the space button on your phone, tap and hold it, and see how it turns into a cursor. This way, you can navigate the text you've typed easily instead of trying to tap that very letter you wanted to change. If this feature doesn't work on your phone, consider upgrading your firmware. Hair conditioner is meant to make your hair soft, but it can also be used as a makeshift fabric softener. Use it for hand washing only. Your washing machine might dislike this trick. Use an old pillowcase to separate your delicate laundry from the rest of your clothes. Underwear, slips, stockings, you name it. Before laundry, make sure your stuff doesn't fall out into the washing machine by turning the pillowcase into a drawstring bag. Sew a hem into the opening of the case and feed a string through the hem, then pull it, and you're done. Then just toss the filled pillowcase into the washing machine. It will act as a wash bag, making your delicates last longer. If you have toothpaste based on baking soda, it will be helpful not only to make your breath fresher, but also to clean stuff around the house. Usable food containers tend to soak in food odors, but if you scrub them with such toothpaste, the smells will be gone before long. Also, try cleansing your kitchen sink with it too. It will return the shine. The big toe isn't just a thumb for your foot. It has its own name, hallux. Hey, Alex, how the hell are you doing, bud? This toe is the exact reason we can keep our balance when standing upright. Inserting bobby pins correctly is with the wavy side down, but that's if you use them on your hair. Alternatively, you can put one at the end of the toothpaste tube in your bathroom, and it doesn't matter which side in this case. The bobby pin will help you squeeze the toothpaste to the very last drop. Just slide it down the tube as you keep using it, and you might save a few days before putting toothpaste on your shopping list. If you paint a fence or walls in your house, paint dripping from the brush on the ground or floor would usually make you irritated. To avoid that, stretch a large rubber band across the opening of the paint can. After dipping the brush in the can, scrape the excess paint off with the help of the band. Now it won't leave a mess beneath your feet. Not only is baking soda good at fighting foul odors, salt does the job too. For example, if your sneakers start insulting your nose with their smell, sprinkle a pinch of salt inside and leave them overnight. Sodium chloride crystals eliminate bacteria and the odors they create. Don't forget to shake your sneakers out before putting them back on. You don't have to take a complete set of cutlery when going on a summer picnic with your friends or family. Some toothpicks and dental floss will be more than enough. Cut soft products like cheese or bread using the floss. It's strong enough to cut them into smooth and neat slices. Just make sure the floss is unflavored unless you fancy your cheese and bread with a hint of peppermint. Ooh. As for toothpicks, they can quickly act as forks, and it's more fun this way. When you're finished with a picnic, you can also use the floss and toothpicks for their direct purpose, of course. Candle wax can be a nuisance to remove from furniture when it hardens, but you can get it soft again by using a blow dryer and then remove the stain with a soft cloth. Or, for better effect, put a cloth or towel over the wax strip and turn the blow dryer on high heat. The blob will soften and soak into the cloth, after which you only need to wipe the surface clean. The little dots along the edges of bus windows are called frit. Now don't worry, it's nothing to fret about. The glass is fitted into a special rubber frame, and the frit is there to protect the sealant from UV rays. It's essentially a baked-in ceramic paint that makes the edges tougher. Those flaps on your laptop charger are there to protect your wire. You can wind the wire around these clips to keep it safe and neat. Glasses or sunglasses have a frame that seems too shabby at first glance, with a bouncy and flexible feel. They're not broken though. On the contrary, it's the sign of a good product, so grab those if you have a choice. This kind of flexibility provides extra comfort when wearing, and also doesn't let the glasses break or become too loose. Sandpaper can have a lot of different applications, like sharpening scissors or needles, roughing slippery shoe soles, or removing stains or scuffs from suede. As for sharpening, tinfoil also does the trick with scissors. If you don't have a special tool for your cuticles handy, take a pencil with an eraser at the other end. Just push the cuticles back gently. The thing works miracles with that. Many types of fruit, like oranges, come in mesh bags. These things are rough enough to scrub dishes or your kitchen sink. Just tie one into a tight knot instead of simply throwing it away. Now, you don't need a special money clip to keep your cash in one place. A simple binder clip will suffice. It does the job with the same efficiency. Or you can give your cash to me. I'll watch it for you. Trust me. When you come across a yogurt that comes with fruit or some sweet topping in a separate container, don't go scooping the topping with your spoon to mix it with the yogurt. The containers like this have a special structure that lets you fold them in two and simply pour the topping into the yogurt. Now, using the same plunger on your sink and your toilet is actually not the best idea. The one with the simple cup is made for sinks, while toilets require another type. It also has a cup, but an additional flap folds out from inside it. The flap perfectly fits the toilet drain opening, creating enough suction to get rid of the clog. That's what we're calling it? Okay. Fix a broken bracelet until you get it repaired using a paper clip. Latch both ends of the brake into the paper clip and twist it hard to fasten it on your wrist or ankle. If the cup of a drink you just bought has a lid and you'd like to sip it without hurry, you can take the lid off and use it as a coaster. Mess-free and neat. Packing up your jewelry for a trip or just sorting it neatly in the jewelry box, use buttons you don't need as earring holders. Put the earring pins through the holes in the button, up to 2 pairs, and lock them like you would on your ears. Clear discs that are said to stabilize your earrings and make them look better on your ears aren't actually to be worn. Their real purpose is to hold the earrings in place while they're in the package. Old tissue boxes can be used to store some other stuff when the tissues are gone. For example, you can put a bundle of plastic bags in there and get them out one by one like you would tissues. There's often a serrated opening at the point where the blades and handles of kitchen shears meet. It can be used to strip various herbs like thyme, chives, or rosemary of their leaves in a single motion instead of plucking them with your own hands. And that little hole next to the camera on your iPhone isn't a flash, it's a microphone. One of 3, in fact. They're meant to pick up every sound regardless of how you hold your phone. And this particular one also helps with voice recognition. Ooh, hello? Do you recognize my voice? Do I sound like myself? Hey, is this thing working?
Next time you follow a recipe where you need to separate egg yolks from whites, try this. Peel a clove of garlic and rub your fingers with it. Carefully break an egg into a bowl. With your garlicky fingers, pick up the yolk. And voila, you can now marvel at how perfectly it separates from the egg white. If it's egg peeling time, there are 2 easy ways to do it. When cooking eggs, add a teaspoon of baking soda to the boiling water. This will make peeling eggs much easier. You can also place them under cold running water as soon as they're ready. The eggshells will come off much easier, and you won't burn your hands while peeling the eggs. The sides of roads have sleeper lines for a very important reason. Their main function is to alert those drivers who doze off behind the wheel. When a car starts steering off the road, the tires go over the lines, and the sound wakes the driver up. Those price tags and labels that come glued to your Tupperware are easier to remove than you might think. No need to waste hot water and soap trying to remove them. Take a hairdryer instead. Blow some hot air directly onto the tag for a minute or so. There you go, the label comes off at once. White household appliances might get yellow with time. To make them white again, use this simple trick. Apply bleaching cream to the surface of an item. Wrap it in plastic and let it stay this way overnight. The next morning, check it out. It'll be as white as when you first bought it. When you buy a pack of cans, opening it might turn into a problem. You probably tear a hole in the plastic and try to squeeze a can out of there. But the bottom of cans was actually designed to make this part much easier. Grab a can and rub it over the top of another can from the pack. A circle the exact same size of the can will be cut out. This way, you can easily remove the new can from the pack without destroying the entire thing. Now to the art of lime squeezing. When you pick limes at the grocery store, you never know how juicy they are, and often, when you bring them home and squeeze them, almost no juice comes out. Try heating these citruses in a microwave for 30 seconds before cutting them open. You'll see that the juice will come out much easier. But be careful, they're going to be hot, and you don't want to burn your hands. If you're hanging out with your friends and feel like listening to some music but don't have a loudspeaker, there's no need to worry. Place your phone in a cup or bowl. The sound will get louder instantly. If you don't have a hanger at hand but still need to hang your shirt, this trick is for you. Most dress shirts have a tiny loop on the back between the shoulders, and you can use it to hang your shirt. How about the worst case scenario? Your phone is running out of battery and you're running late. Try this simple trick. Switch on airplane mode. Your phone will charge to 100% in no time. You can run the sticky part of a Post-it note along your laptop's keyboard. This will help remove tiny bits of food and dust that get stuck in between the keys. Avoid putting really hot food into plastic containers. Hot plastic releases all kinds of toxic chemicals, and we don't want our food to absorb that nasty stuff, right? What can be better than a bubble bath in the evening? But the bubbles are not only pretty and smell nice, they also keep the water temperature hot for longer. This way, you can enjoy a long hot bath without getting cold too quickly. You got home craving a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but your peanut butter now has 2 layers, and the oil is at the top. To avoid getting disappointed, next time, store a peanut butter jar turned upside down. Your screwdriver and wrench can work together to remove that stubborn screw. Grab your screwdriver's handle with the wrench and use it to apply more force. This method will also help you reach more difficult areas. There is a reason why your coffee stirrer looks like a straw. It has holes in it because it reduces the amount of plastic manufacturers have to use. Plus, they prevent the stirrer from floating. The holes in the stirrer get filled with coffee, which in turn makes it heavier. And speaking of coffee, you should never buy the product that is more than 18 months old. Make sure to look at the best before date when buying it. If you've ever had trouble with those classic salt and pepper shakers, the ones you may see in diners, I've got a trick for you. Instead of shaking your entire arm to try and get some salt out of the container, try rubbing the bottom of one container with the bottom of the other. Grab the salt and hold it so that the bottom of the container faces downward. Now, while holding the pepper shaker upright, rub the 2 bottom parts together, creating circular friction between them. After this, the salt will spill effortlessly. After a long day of hiking, your shoes might smell funny. Well, I've got good news for you. Put dry tea bags inside your shoes and keep them in a dry place for a while. The tea bags will absorb bad smells and make your shoes dry. If you've torn your flip-flop while taking a walk, there's a way to save the day, but only if you have a bread clip with you. First, push the strap back into its hole. Then attach the bread clip to the bottom of the flip-flop strap. Here you go! Your body needs a daily amount of vitamin C to boost your immune system, but oranges are a tricky fruit to peel. To avoid getting sprayed all over your face, start by cutting off both the top and the bottom parts of the orange. Then, cut the peel vertically. Hook your fingers under the opposite sides of the cut and open your orange. If it's difficult for you to figure out how much detergent you need to wash your clothes, here's a tip for you. Usually, detergent caps have markings that indicate the exact amount of liquid you should use per wash. It helps your detergent last longer. Permanent markers are not as permanent as you might believe they are. I can prove it. Let's say you used a permanent marker, thinking it was a regular one, to draw something on a whiteboard. Good news for you, you don't need to throw the board away yet. There's a way to save it. Get a regular marker and use it to draw over the lines left by the permanent one. Let it sit for a while so that both markers blend in together. The thing is, the ink of the regular marker contains a solvent that dissolves the pigment the permanent marker contains. Now take a paper towel and rub the whiteboard clean. The marker will come off easily. If you need to peel peaches, use the technique called blanching. First, heat up some water. Wait until it starts boiling. Soak the peaches in the water for about 20 seconds. Then put the fruit into a bowl with cold water and leave them for about 5 minutes. There you have it. The peel will come off nicely and easily. That plastic lid covering your drink can be used as a coaster. Take the lid off and put it on the table. The bottom of your cup will fit perfectly into the lid's inner ring. No more stained tables from now on. Bristles on escalators are there for safety reasons. They remain stationary while the escalator is moving, preventing people from standing too close to the sides. This helps to avoid accidents like getting your shoelaces stuck. If you pay close attention to elevator doors, you'll notice they have a small hole in them. This is a keyhole, and only authorized personnel have the key to it. They use it in emergency situations or during a regular maintenance routine.
Have you ever stopped to think about the thrilling secrets of day-to-day modern life on planet Earth? I'm talking about tiny windows in washing machines and little holes in airplane windows. If you haven't got a clue of what I'm talking about, tag along and allow yourself to be as surprised as I was when I found out. Remember the drawer at the bottom of your oven? Maybe you've been ignoring it all along or using it to store pots and pans. Well, even though it can serve this function, that's not the only thing it's there for. The best way to use the bottom drawer is to keep your meal heated while you're waiting to serve it. Genius, right? Talking about secret doors, have you noticed that most washing machines have little flap doors at the bottom too? These doors actually serve as drain traps. It's where all the items that we put to wash together with our jeans and jackets go to. It's a type of collector, let's say, of small items. It stops them from getting into the main drain pipes and clogging them. It saves us hundreds of dollars in repairs each month. Now, who hasn't gone through the confusing task of having to measure how much pasta to cook for one serving? Well, here's the solution: the holes in the center of pasta spoons. They were actually made for measuring the exact amount of dry pasta you need for one serving. If you try stuffing wet cooked pasta through it, well, good luck with that. On a similar topic, have you ever wondered why pen caps have holes in them? Maybe you thought it was a design feature to regulate air pressure. But in reality, these holes have a much simpler and more important function: to reduce the risk of choking. Now, lots of people love to bite on their caps, and this tiny hole prevents them from choking in case they accidentally swallow a cap and it gets stuck in their throat. For kitchen lovers, there's a hidden secret right in front of your eyes that can change your life. Think pans. Now think handles. Right, they have holes in them. As it turns out, these holes were designed to hold the spoon you're using for cooking. And instead of dripping sauce all over the stove or your kitchen floor, you can place the spoon in the hole and let it drip the sauce directly back into the pan. Woohoo! Speaking of everyday items, and most doorknobs are made of brass because this material makes them naturally germ-free. Unlike plastic ones, brass doorknobs are kind of magical. They can disinfect themselves without you having to clean them. Neat, right? Have you ever noticed that at the bottom of a measuring tape there is a little dip? You can find it in that metallic part you need to pull on to measure something. Well, that dip is actually the exact size of a regular nail. It was designed for people to place the tape on top of a nail and use it as a support while they stretch the tape. Well, I can't wait to try it out for myself. As for the margins in your notebook, they were invented to protect people's notes from mice. No, the mice weren't copying your answers for the math quiz. Actually, there were times when people had to cohabitate with rats and mice that often chewed on paper. So, to prevent information from getting completely lost, people created margins. This way, texts were moved closer to the middle of pages and remained unharmed by rodents. Perhaps this is where to digest information came from. And what about those tiny holes at the bottom of airplane windows? They have an extremely important function of regulating the air pressure inside the cabin. In other words, they help planes fly high up in the sky. Big responsibility, right? By the way, tray tables on an airplane are the germiest places inside the entire cabin. Studies showed that the trays had 8 times the amount of germs on the toilet flush button. Now, how about we cut a commercial airplane in half and see what's inside? Well, it would look more or less like this: rows of seats on top and everything else that needs to be stored at the bottom. I'm talking about passengers' luggage, emergency supplies, parts of the wing system, and so on. Moving on to bowling balls. Yes, I know it's a clumsy transition. Anyway, have you ever wondered what the insides of a bowling ball look like? If you have cut a professional ball in two, you'll see a familiar shape. Look closely. Do you see it? Doesn't that look like the logo of Brightside? Anyway, professional bowling balls are different from the ones in your local bowling alley. That's because they're designed to make fancy moves. They actually have some really complex engineering inside. They're shaped to help skilled professionals get more strikes. The weight of professional bowling balls is designed to be projected inward as they travel down the bowling lane. This makes it harder for them to get into the gutters on the sides of the lane. Speaking of balls, let's take a look inside a baseball. To make it light and aerodynamic, producers use several different layers. Starting from the core, we have a cork center enveloped by black rubber. Then there's a layer of red rubber, followed by 2 or 3 alternating layers of wool yarn. After that, there's a visible white leather cover and that beautiful red seam on the side, stitching it all together. And what if you had X-ray vision and managed to look inside a human bone? Ooh, spooky! I'd say what calls most attention is this spiderweb-like situation at the center of the bone. In reality, it's a highly condensed and complex structure of nerves that you have inside your bones. Aren't you lucky? Now, I've got a riddle for you. What is round, can be found near the ocean, and looks like an aerial view of the Guggenheim Museum in New York City, the one that's made almost entirely of ramps? If you said a nautilus shell, hey, then you guessed right. A nautilus is a shellfish whose house you can find in countless souvenir stores near the beach. It's made up of 2 layers, a matte white outer layer and an iridescent white inner layer. And if you were to cut it in half, it would look very similar to the insides of the Guggenheim Museum. Aloe leaves are good for healing purposes and also for hydration. But if you managed to look inside of an aloe leaf, the image you'd see would be satisfying and very relaxing. Who hasn't dreamed of a pool filled with jelly? Now, there seems to be nothing more mundane and regular than a tube of toothpaste. But you wouldn't think so if you cut open a tube that contains several colors. Now, there have been speculations that the insides of such a toothpaste tube might be divided by barriers so that the stripes don't mix. But if you cut it in half, you'll see that it has only one interior chamber. As it happens, there's a lot of science behind the making of striped toothpaste. According to a specialist, they have to ensure that the paste in all the stripes has the same physical properties. This way, the colors are naturally prevented from mixing with one another. That's why, if you tear a tube open, you'll see something that looks like several slices of pizza in different colors. If you open your closet, you're bound to find at least a few wooden hangers. Usually, they're made of cedar wood, which is a natural moth repellent. So, cedar hangers actually protect your clothes from moth infestation. For some people, more than others, eyeliner is an everyday must. Boy, isn't it. But did you know that back in ancient Egyptian times, both men and women used kohl eyeliners to protect their eyes from the sun's glare? Way to go for the Egyptians for figuring that out. Now, if I could just learn to walk like one. Normally, we use headrests for the purpose of, well, resting our heads, right? Well, not only. As it turns out, headrests can be easily removed from the seats and used to break car windows in case of emergencies. Now, this one is a trick very few people know about. You probably place your doormat horizontally, like most of us do. But doormats serve the purpose of absorbing dirt from the soles of your shoes before you enter your home. So, for this function to work as it's meant to, the best way to place a doormat is vertically. This way, you take more steps on the top of the doormat before entering your house. And last but not least, now I don't want to be accusatory here, but you have probably been vacuuming your house the wrong way, and I can prove it. Most people just vacuum floors and carpets in one direction or move the brush back and forth several times, thinking they've got all the dust out. But according to cleaning professionals, the best way to vacuum is in rows. First, you go forward with the brush until you arrive at the end of the row. Then, you fluff the carpet up and move back down along the same row, gathering the dust that wasn't collected in the first sweep. Talk about efficient cleaning. On the other hand, my idea of house cleaning is to sweep the room with a glance. Hey, I don't want to disturb that protective layer of dust. Now, doctors recommend risking your life at least twice a day. I mean, brushing your teeth at least twice a day. But you see, the seemingly harmless toothpaste that peacefully chills on every American counter poses a life-threatening danger because of one not-so-harmless ingredient, sodium fluoride. Now, don't get me wrong, not every toothpaste out there contains it, but most of them still do. But don't rush to the bathroom to trash your tube. If you swallow a tiny pea-sized glob, it isn't fatal. I'm talking about larger quantities. A toothpaste tube has only 0.15% fluoride. To send you running to the hills, you must consume around 8 tubes one by one, so technically, toothpaste is totally safe. Let's go and look for more dangers at your place, shall we? Personally, I don't have this one, but if you happen to have a CFL light bulb, you gotta be extremely cautious with it. The thing is, many of those bulbs are made with mercury. If such a bulb breaks, you gotta start by turning off your ventilation system. Otherwise, the contamination will only get worse. Make sure everyone has left the room, then open a window to allow for fresh air circulation. Finally, clean the area where the bulb shattered. Be careful to address both wet and dry surfaces and contact specialists. Mercury vapors are definitely the biggest concern when it comes to this element. Take, for instance, a case of 2008, where a 55-year-old guy in Oklahoma tried to extract gold from old electronics using liquid mercury. Unfortunately, he inhaled too much vapor and sadly passed away just 10 days later. The contamination was so severe that they had to completely gut his house. Now, you definitely don't want your favorite clothes to get ruined by moths, so you might grab some mothballs to exterminate them. But watch out, those mothballs can exterminate you too. They usually contain chemicals like naphthalene or a paradichlorobenzene. When these get into the air, they turn into gas. That strong smell you associate with mothballs kicks in. Those fumes can actually irritate your eyes and lungs, and may even cause headaches, dizziness, and nausea. Plus, there are concerns about these chemicals being the cause of major conditions that even modern medicine can cure. Naphthalene is especially risky because it can break down your red blood cells, leading to a condition called hemolytic anemia. So try to swap those balls for good old lavender. Moths aren't big fans of it. Now, it's super important to keep an eye on the plants you bring into your home because some can be surprisingly harmful. Take Dieffenbachia, commonly known as dumb cane, for example. Rumor has it that its sap can cause your tongue to swell up so much that it can block your airway. But can it really? Yes and no. It's true that this plant contains poisonous, tiny needle-like crystals called rapides, but they require someone to actually chew on a leaf first before any fuss happens. Otherwise, you might just feel a brief burning sensation or observe some skin redness. In rare cases, you might see some swelling in the area that touched the plant. Generally, just a little nibble leads to mild discomfort, so please don't snack on your potted plants. This warning is more for the safety of your pets, especially cats. Now, if Dieffenbachia stays in contact with the mouth for too long, it can cause some serious pain that might linger for days or even weeks. In those cases, a trip to the hospital might be necessary, especially if the throat gets affected, as that could impact breathing. But don't believe the hype that Dieffenbachia is a lethal poison. That's just an urban legend. The bottom line? One must be really dumb to get poisoned by a dumb cane. Now, using a power washer can be more dangerous than you might think. The intense pressure can lead to serious injuries, and the high-speed spray can kick up debris that might cause even more harm. If you do get injured, infections can set in quickly, and without timely medical care, things can get really serious. Think severe complications, potential limb loss, or even worse. But honestly, it's not that scary. Just don't overdo it with pressure. Here's a friendly tip. Don't skip out on your weekly house cleaning, especially when it comes to the bathroom. The longer you put off cleaning it, the more risky it becomes. Bathrooms are notorious hotspots for bacteria, which makes regular cleaning essential. You definitely don't want those unwelcome guests like norovirus, E. coli, salmonella, or even Staphylococcus aureus hanging around, along with those molds and mildews. Just put things into perspective. An average toilet seat can host over 200,000 colony-forming bacteria. And here's another thing to keep in mind. If you're not careful while cleaning, you can accidentally create a dangerous situation. Mixing bleach and ammonia can release a toxic gas called chloramine. Those fumes can lead to some pretty nasty symptoms, from shortness of breath to fluid in your lungs. Guess what? If it happens, you will probably kick the bucket. And I'm not talking about the one you use for cleaning the floors in the bathroom. On a sweltering summer day, having air conditioning is definitely a blessing. But don't let that trick you into thinking there aren't risks involved. If your AC is on the older side, it can lead to various issues. For example, the ductwork and filters can trap harmful mold, bacteria, and allergens. If those aren't addressed, folks in your home might end up dealing with coughing, wheezing, or a stuffy nose. Plus, an aging AC unit can pose a fire risk. Older components tend to generate more heat as they try to keep up, and if they're not replaced, you could end up with a potential fire hazard. Faulty wiring is another concern, as many wires are tucked away in hard-to-reach spots, making them tough to inspect. So, if you have an older AC, it's a smart move to have it cleaned properly and ensure that its parts and wiring are up to date to avoid any fire risks. Snuggling under a cozy electric blanket when the weather turns chilly sounds like a dream. But if electric blankets get too hot, they might lead to burns. This risk is particularly significant with older models that don't have an automatic shutoff feature. So the best way to use such a blanket is to warm up your bed and then turn it off before you crawl in. There's also the concern of heat stroke, linked to the use of an electric blanket. Once, 2 people were discovered unresponsive in their beds beneath electric blankets. The first person's body temperature reached an alarming 106.2 degrees Fahrenheit, while the second person's temperature was 105.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So while these blankets offer comfort, it's crucial to use them wisely. Just a quick heads up about windshield washer fluid. It contains methanol, which can really pack a punch. If ingested, it can cause everything from dizziness and headaches to severe poisoning. Make sure to store it safely and keep it in the original container. Never transfer it to unmarked bottles. It can easily be confused with water and other harmless liquids, and that's a big no-no. Methanol is super toxic. For a grown-up, 2 to 8 ounces can do the trick. You know what I mean. The windshield washer fluid you dump into your car usually has about 30 to 50% methanol in it. But the concentrated versions? They can pack a serious punch with 90 to 100% methanol. Just remember, these products need to be diluted with water before you use them. The last everyday thing on our list does seem to be a great buddy of ours, especially if located in the bathroom. But although air fresheners can give your home a pleasant scent, many of them release volatile organic compounds that can build up over time and may pose serious health risks, including neurological issues and incurable conditions. I suggest, if you were to ask me, you play it safe and think about opting for natural alternatives or enhancing your home's ventilation instead. Got that? Good. Now, apart from being a great food additive and warding off vampires, garlic has cleansing properties that can make things more tolerable around the bathroom. And we can all use that. Freshly crushed garlic cloves contain a variety of antimicrobial properties. Allicin reduces the buildup of bacteria and fungi. The natural cleansing properties of garlic are not only great for the environment, but they can also help you avoid the need to constantly clean the toilet. Simply crush up a piece of garlic and put it into your toilet bowl before you go to bed. The next morning, flush the toilet. The allicin has done the grueling task of cleaning the toilet for you. Doing this 2 times a week will ensure a very clean toilet bowl. Hair grease and grime build up over time and eventually clog the drains. Removing the blockage is easy with salt and vinegar. Using a small bowl, add 1 cup of vinegar and 1 cup of salt and mix thoroughly until it's evenly combined. Pour the mixture into the drain and wait for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the severity of the clog. This method will save on money, further showing that salt and vinegar aren't just good on chips, but they are. Now, to further ensure the drain is clear of not only the blockage, but also the smell, add 3½ ounces of baking soda. Boil 6 ounces of water and mix in 1 cup of vinegar. Pour the baking soda into the drain, followed by the boiling water and vinegar mix. It will begin sizzling once the reaction starts, so just sit back and let it do its thing. An hour later, the blockage, along with the smell, will be gone. Scorched pans tend to use a lot of elbow grease, but they can be cleaned a lot easier with the right ingredients. Fill your pot or pan with water and add in about 1 cup of vinegar. Bring the liquid to a boil, then remove the pan from the heat before it completely dries up, ensuring there is a small amount of liquid remaining. Sprinkle baking soda on the base, covering the burnt parts. A couple of teaspoons should be enough to form a slurry. Watch and wait as the soda fizzes. Continue to move the pan around to ensure you cover the scorched areas. Once the fizzing stops, you're free to scrub away. Vinegar by itself can be used for many purposes. A couple of teaspoons mixed with water in a spray bottle will easily remove salt stains from shoes. Pour white vinegar into a container and place rusty tools inside. Overnight, the vinegar will eat away at the rust. After 24 hours, as you wipe it, you'll be able to remove the corrosion easily. Baking soda also removes foul odors on furniture and carpet, as it gradually absorbs all the acidic odors within a covered area. Baking soda is a pH neutralizer, which means it absorbs smells that are acidic in nature. This includes most of the nasty smells we find throughout our living areas. When applying, ensure you are very generous while spreading. Leave it on the required area for at least an hour, and for best results, leave it on overnight. Then just suck it up with a vacuum cleaner. Charcoal contains the same odor-removing elements, only better, and deals with a greater variety of particles. However, you don't want to exchange smells for patches of black stains from the charcoal, but putting them into air freshener sachets and hiding them underneath the cushions will have the desired effect without the mess. There are various forms of cleaning you can do with vinegar. The reason why it's so effective is the acetic acid content, which is more powerful than other natural ingredients like coffee and orange juice. There is a process involved for vinegar to develop into the crime-fighting liquid that it is. The acetic acid that makes up the effective properties, it can be used on many surfaces without damaging them. Not only is it beneficial for cleaning and removing stains, but also for polishing copper, brass, bronze, and silver. Given its benefits for almost anything, it'll give your dishwasher an extra boost with a natural cleanse. Just fill up half a bowl of white vinegar and place it on the top rack before you start the machine. Then witness the immaculate results. Within the small space of a microwave, you can combine 2 cups of water with 1/4 cup of lemon juice in an open dish. Run the microwave on high for 8 minutes. The steam from the solution will get absorbed into the crusty layers within the microwave, and once complete, it'll be easier to clean, leaving a fresh, lemony smell. Using the oil of cloves and cinnamon, you can soak cotton balls in them and place them in small bags inside your closet. Moths and other insects can't stand these ingredients, which will ensure that your clothes remain untouched. Using similar ingredients, you can create your own humidifier with a stove in the winter. Simply fill a can 2/3 of the way with water, adding cinnamon sticks, cloves, and orange peel, and place it on the stove. While it adds moisture to the air, it'll also provide a soothing scent. Scratches, nicks, and marks made on wooden furniture can be restained with a pecan by simply rubbing it on the scratched or damaged area. Has your stainless steel cutlery and other flatware lost its shine? Put them in a small pan filled with carbonated water. Let them sit until the bubbles have completely gone flat. The steel will shine as good as new once removed and wiped down. Add witch hazel to the water fill in your iron, and as you're ironing your clothes, instead of the stale smell normally produced, you'll have a sweeter, fresher scent instead. Within the difficult corners of furniture where a vacuum cleaner's suction can't quite reach, use a paintbrush to easily reach the buildup that has escaped the suction for so long. Chewing gum stuck on your finger? Or maybe after popping it, is now stuck in your hair? Rub vegetable oil on it, then leave it for a few minutes until you're able to remove it easily. Ammonia is 100% safe for the environment, though it can be harmful to the skin. But its cleaning uses are extensive. Pour a cup of household ammonia into a small bowl in the oven, making sure the oven is off, and leave it overnight. The next morning, wipe it down with a damp wipe. You'll appreciate the difference as you easily clean the grime from the hardest places to wash. Ammonia's natural benefits should mean it's always used instead of bleach. In the bathroom, not only does it make the tiles sparkle like brand new, but it will easily remove mildew. 1/4 cup of ammonia per gallon will get the job done. Running half a lemon down the side of a cheese grater will effectively remove sticky food particles. Just remember to wash with water afterward. This ensures a more effective cleanse and keeps your fingers safe from being cut. Make sure to save the juice from the lemon, as it's a natural substitute for bleach. Using just 1/2 cup of juice per gallon, leave clothes to soak for at least an hour and then dry them out in the sun. The same volume can be used in a washing machine to brighten colors and bleach your whites. It's also possible to sanitize your earrings with 1 tablespoon of lemon juice in 1½ cups of water. Just be sure to avoid putting your gold and pearls, as they're sensitive to the acids found in lemons. Apply olive oil and a bit of salt when washing your cast iron pans after cooking. This will ensure you remove all the debris and will reduce the effects on the surface of the pan, extending its usage. Without using salt, the same method can be used to remove stains on stainless steel benches and ovens. Gently cleaning with a small amount of olive oil in a circular motion will not only remove charred fragments, but will also restore their shine. Due to the antimicrobial properties that olive oil contains, it's an incredibly safe and natural alternative to chemicals. Further varieties of oils, like tea tree oil, have even more benefits with their antiviral and antifungal properties. By using distilled oil in a spray bottle with a few drops of olive oil, you can make your own ready-to-use all-purpose cleaner.
Trains used to make people mad. During the Victorian era, there was this rumor that the swaying motion of train carriages made passengers, especially men, go a bit crazy, leading to some strange and dangerous behavior. The so-called railway madness was supposedly triggered by the noise of the train. To make things worse, carriages were locked for privacy reasons back then, so people found themselves stuck in tiny spaces with lunatics who could snap at any moment. If you see someone putting ketchup on some car, it doesn't mean you're witnessing them preparing a prank. It means they're just taking care of their car. Yup, it goes great with hamburgers and hot dogs, but it goes even better with cars, since it has ingredients that are good at removing rust. Rust occurs when the metal gets exposed to moisture, oxygen, and heat, and due to weather conditions, it's hard to avoid it. When you leave rust for a longer time and don't deal with it, it will continue to degrade the metal. So, you need to get rid of it before your car becomes physically useless. That's when ketchup comes in. Its key ingredient is tomatoes, and they have many nutrients similar to those you can find in oranges and some other citrus fruits. For instance, citric acid can help you remove rust from metal surfaces since it eats through rust. We're not talking about the cars only. You can use it on metallic kitchenwares, furniture parts, jewelry, and rust spots on generally any metallic item. You can combine it with washing soda. It's not quite effective against rust, but when you combine it with ketchup, it'll do the work. Mix these two and apply them to the rusted area. Leave it like that for about half an hour and wash it with a wet cloth or sponge. You can combine ketchup with salt instead, or just apply a lot of it on the rusty area without using any additional ingredients. Ketchup removes tarnish from brass copper too. Put it on brass hardware on doors and cabinets, or some accessories such as bowls and candlesticks for 10 minutes to make it all shine. And also, you don't put it on meat just because of taste. Ketchup breaks down its fibers, which means it makes it more tender. Locking handles as we know them were only invented relatively recently, in 1878. Before that, people had to get pretty inventive to secure their homes. Most folks used a latch string. They'd make a small hole in the door, thread a leather thong or string through it, and then loop it around a wooden bar. Even after doorknobs were invented, only the wealthy could afford a proper lock and key. Vacuum cleaners had a rough start too. The first one was invented in 1901, but it was so huge that it wouldn't fit inside houses. Instead, vacuuming was offered as a mobile service. The machines were parked outside, and long hoses were fed through the windows. And to get to the client's house, these large cleaning machines were actually pulled by horses. Back in the day, animals even used to pull strollers. Yep, with kids inside. The stroller was first developed in 1733 for the daughters and sons of a British nobleman who might have been a bit too lazy to walk with them every day. So, the first model was basically a shell-shaped basket on wheels that could be pulled by a goat or a small pony. This small chariot was cute, but probably not the safest way to get around. Refrigerators also used to be a bit scary. From the late 1800s until 1929, they used toxic gases like ammonia, methyl chloride, and sulfur dioxide to cool things down. People were so concerned about gas leaks that they began leaving their refrigerators in the backyard instead of keeping them in the kitchen. This danger even inspired Albert Einstein to create a new model. In 1926, Einstein and his former student Leo Szilard invented a refrigerator with no moving parts, using safer, environmentally friendly gases to reduce the risk of toxic leaks. But it had one problem. Einstein's refrigerator was less efficient than existing appliances, so it wasn't commercially appealing. If you ever find yourself casually wandering in the forests of Estonia, don't freak out if you see some giant megaphones. These wooden, acoustic giants were set 3 hours away from the country's capital by interior architecture students. That's way cooler than the hamster roller coaster I once built for a science fair, I have to admit. More than half of Estonia is covered by woods, and they're pretty proud of this natural wealth. So it's not the first art project of this kind, and there was a winding, elevated pathway and a faceted woodland cabin. The idea of the megaphones is to crank up the natural sounds of a forest and also to serve as a rest spot for hikers. These wooden beauties are large enough to host several people. And hey, if you walk this far into the woodland, you'll be thankful for this. The students were given a task to invent some concepts of a forest library. They built the megaphones off-site and brought them to their permanent spots. They're set in such a way that sounds from 3 directions meet in the center and create a cool, natural surround sound effect. Thankfully, kitchen supplies, including our beloved grills, have come a long way. Back in the 1950s, a metalworker named George Stephen had a brilliant idea while trying to create the perfect steak. Frustrated with flare-ups and uneven cooking, he decided to cut an old ocean buoy in half. This allowed him to control the airflow better. And that's how the Weber Kettle Grill was born, changing backyard barbecues forever. Have you ever used a public bathroom in the summer in your shorts and sandals and got splashed? It happens to the best of us, so no worries. If only there was some solution to this problem. Perhaps a urinal with a small hole so no liquid goes where it shouldn't. Looks pretty yucky and painful to me. An assistant professor at the University of Waterloo, Zhao Pen, and his colleagues came up with a way better solution for this sensitive issue. Their designs were inspired by physics and dogs. When a stream of liquid moves on a solid surface at a shallow angle, the splash is reduced, and the smaller the angle, the fewer splashes you'll see. You can even minimize them to a 0. And when dogs do their business, they lift their hind legs and do it on the vertical surface of a tree or a wall. I don't know if they actually care about it, but this does reduce the splash. Good job, Pluto. Talking about that, here's a fun challenge for your next family gathering. Ask everyone to fold a piece of paper in half, then in half again, and keep going for a total of 7 folds. Spoiler alert, they probably won't succeed. That's because each fold makes the paper thicker and thicker. In fact, if you had a huge sheet of paper and folded it in half 50 times, it would end up being about 62 million miles thick, which is about 2/3 of the way from Earth to the Sun. So yeah, it's impossible. The current record is held by a high school student named Brittany Gallivan, who managed to fold a single piece of paper in half 12 times, and it was a tissue paper. The USB symbol, looking like a trident, has always sparked multiple speculations about its origin. One popular idea is that it represents Neptune's trident and symbolizes power and adaptability. But there's also a little bit less exciting theory. A man who claimed to have designed the symbol in the 1980s stated that it was supposed to represent connectivity. The large circle symbolizes a computer, while the attached shapes, the circle, the triangle, and square, stand for different outputs. Look closely at a tram's overhead lines, and you'll see that its contact wires zigzag back and forth instead of going in a straight line. That's because all trams have pantographs attached to their roofs. The upper part of the pantograph is gradually worn down by the overhead wire and eventually needs to be replaced. To wear it down evenly, the wire is not installed strictly along the tram's path, but in zigzag patterns. As the tram moves, the pantograph slides along the wire, and it wears down evenly. Those cone-shaped water cooler cups? Their shape is intentionally designed to prevent users from setting the cups down. This allows employees to minimize the risk of spilling water on their desks around various electronic devices. Plus, less material is used to produce cone-shaped cups, which makes the process less wasteful and more cost-effective. It also kinda supports sustainability by encouraging people to drink their water quickly and dispose of their cups immediately after. You're probably wearing a YKK product right now. I mean, go check the zipper on your jeans. Yep, that's it. YKK stands for Yoshida Kogyo Kabushiki Kaisha, a Japanese company that makes roughly half of all the zippers in the world, producing over 7 billion zippers each year. Originally called hookless fasteners, they became known as zippers after a pair of rubber boots that could be fastened with a single zip became popular in 1923. The name stuck because of the high-pitched zip sound they make when used. Despite a popular myth, household batteries don't actually contain liquid, and if you accidentally cut them open, no toxic liquid will spill. Most of them are dry cell batteries, which are made of electrochemical cells. Those convert chemical energy into electrical energy. Larger batteries often house numerous small cells within them too. Even Tesla vehicle batteries consist of multiple small cells. When combined, they easily provide the necessary voltage. Did you know that nail polish used to be a status symbol? In ancient Egypt, queens like Nefertiti and Cleopatra were famous for their red nails, while lower-ranking citizens were only allowed to wear pale shades. You'll probably agree that there's no better snack than a pack of chips. Some are flat, others have ridges. Is it just aesthetics? Not really. The main purpose of those lines on some kinds of chips is to help with the distribution of spices and seasonings. In other words, all those substances that make your chips taste like cheese are mostly stored inside the lines. Plus, the lines make chips crunchier. This item here was also popular in ancient Egypt. What looks like a weird bench was actually a weird type of pillow. Back then, headrests were made from materials like wood, ceramic, and stone. Unlike our comfy pillows today, those ancient ones were used to protect people's hairstyles. That way, their hairdos stayed neat, even though they had a very uncomfortable night. If you've left a pot on the stove and your food burned, once again, take ketchup. Its acids will ease all the scrubbing and help you with grease. Just leave it over the night and you'll be able to wash the pot more easily. Or keep those small packages of ketchup we all end up having from fast food orders in the freezer. The ketchup won't be as hard as an ice cube as it freezes. So it will be good for soothing insect bites or similar things. For 8 centuries, forks were considered cursed and nearly forbidden in the West. The first models were used by the elite in the Middle East and the Byzantine Empire, and they made their way to the West in 1004, thanks to a noblewoman named Maria Agrippina. People were pretty shocked by it, to say the least. So when she passed away just 2 years later, everyone blamed the fork, thinking it was some kind of divine punishment. By the way, its name comes from the Latin word furca, which means pitchfork. Next on our list is Nike's iconic moon shoe, but I'm talking about the unique pattern of its sole. Back in the 1970s, Nike co-founder Bill Bowerman was making waffles for breakfast with his wife when he had a sudden idea: to pour a plastic material called polyurethane into the waffle iron. The machine was ruined, of course, but I guess it was worth it since that's how the first Nike waffle trainer was born. I mean, its sole. That clear fluid in gel pens is called the ink follower or stopper fluid. The gel in such pens contains pigment particles dissolved in a polymer solution. The main task of the stopper fluid is to be a barrier to prevent the gel from evaporating or leaking out. Without this transparent fluid, your gel pen wouldn't function. The fluid always stays in one position and doesn't get dissolved with the gel. Neither does it move backwards or flow out of the pen. Let's move on to another favorite snack: popcorn. These days, cinema and popcorn go hand in hand, but it wasn't always this way. In the 1920s and 1930s, movie theater owners were hesitant to allow snacks in their theaters. They were worried about the mess and the crunching noises interfering with movies. Plus, popcorn used to cost only 5 to 10 cents, so they didn't see any financial benefit. But savvy street vendors saw a big chance. So, they got their own popcorn machines and started selling them outside theaters. That's why popcorn probably became the original clandestine movie snack, and theater staff would even have to check if people were hiding bags of it in their coats. Have you ever helped your friends move into a new apartment in a building without an elevator? Then you're gonna love this one. Houses in Amsterdam have hooks on top. This is a medieval invention for pulling stuff up the houses. The simple tech consisting of a wheel and a rope still functions now, centuries later. Why not just use the stairs? Well, if you get inside one of those narrow Amsterdam buildings, you'll see there's hardly enough room to comfortably ascend, and you can forget about even trying to pull a table on top. Back in the medieval ages, pretty much like now, only rich people could afford housing around the canals in the best parts of the city. Those people were mostly traders and used the canals for their business. They stored goods in the same houses they lived in, and with regular floods, they had to find a way to keep the goods dry. And that's why they needed to invent something to lift furniture, goods, boxes, instruments, and food on the upper floors, and pull it in through fully open, wide windows. The lifting tech is one of the reasons the houses in Amsterdam are leaning forward. This position helped keep both the lifted stuff and the walls and windows safe during transportation. They didn't have to touch each other. The gables also assisted in the process and had to be made firm to withstand all the heavy weight. And in case you're wondering what gables are, they're sections of wall between the edges of a dual-pitched roof, typical for Amsterdam. Sticking with old-school fun, it's time to talk about cards. So, have you ever wondered how many times you need to riffle a deck to shuffle it completely? The answer is 7 times, according to math. Even cooler, if you shuffle a deck right, you're probably creating a unique order that's never existed before and never will again. And if you have a deck at hand, check out the 4 kings. You'll notice that the King of Hearts is the only one without a mustache. He's not special or anything. I mean, he also used to have a mustache, but it was lost in the reproduction of the original design. Your home has more regular things that can do magic tricks. Like if you have a house or a big terrace and want to make a nice flower wall. Try old mattress springs. Just hang them on the wall and let your imagination run wild with flowers. An old flower sifter can still come in handy, for example, as a planter. Even if you don't have one, you might find it at a garage sale or a thrift store. Wallpaper is making its big comeback when it comes to home design. Maybe you can try something different and use some old books with torn pages. You just need to learn the basics of hanging wallpaper, and voila! You get a new cool place for your old books. There's a solution for the remains of an old book. Don't worry, you can have blocks where you'll keep your kitchen knives. It's pretty original, don't you think?
Solitaire was probably everyone's go-to game to pass the time back in the 1990s, but its original purpose was far from it. When developers created this game, their idea was to teach people how to use a computer without them even realizing it. For example, dragging and dropping cards into one place helped people learn how to move files into folders. The same goes for Minesweeper, which was designed to help people get used to using a mouse and clicking.
Cleaning blinds can be frustrating, but the next time you do it, try doing it with a sock over your hand. Hands are kind of perfectly shaped for getting all those nooks and crannies on the blinds, and the sock will do the rest. Here's something you wouldn't expect. Ice cubes can help you remove gum from carpet, clothing, and hair. Just put your clothes in the sink and add ice cubes. Leave it like that for a while. Ice will freeze the gum, so you can chip it away more easily. If the gum got stuck on the carpet, leave ice cubes right in the critical spot and remove the gum with a butter knife. It's a little bit harder to remove it from hair though, but still possible. Just wrap the ice and parts of your hair with the gum in a washcloth until the gum gets frozen. When you get there, you should be able to break apart the gum and free your hair using your fingers. Or, next time you have to deal with a splinter, just take one ice cube to numb that area before you even start doing anything.
You might have noticed that movie theater seats are almost always red. This choice isn't random. It has strategic importance, which is rooted in visual science. The thing is, red light has a longer wavelength. It means that it's the first color to disappear in low light. It allows the audience to concentrate better on the screen once the movie begins. Such a design choice enhances the viewing experience by minimizing distractions. Speed bumps are crucial for pedestrian safety, but at the same time, they can seriously increase car emissions due to the non-stop acceleration and deceleration they cause. To address this issue, some cities like London are testing fake speed bumps. Those are optical illusions painted on the road. They look raised from a driver's perspective, but in reality, they're flat. Authorities hope that this approach will slow down drivers without having a negative impact on the environment. Soda bottles are always filled in such a way that there's some space between the liquid and the cap. That's because soda contains carbon dioxide. It's a gas that can expand once the bottle's heated. If there's no gap in the bottle, it can break because of the pressure building inside. Also, when you open your drink, the gases go out in the form of bubbles, making the drink overflow. The gap helps with this problem too. If you're more into Angry Birds, Candy Crush, and other mobile games, that's totally normal. After all, more people have access to cell phones than to toilets these days. But not many of us stop to think about how disgusting our phones can be. The natural bacteria from our skin and the oils from our hands get transferred to our phones with every touch, swipe, and tap. This makes phones about 10 times dirtier than toilet seats. Yikes!
Fitness trackers and fancy smartwatches are fine for monitoring your heart rate and even the miles you cover on a run. They're not so good at measuring the number of calories you've burned, though. A 2017 study from the Stanford University School of Medicine showed that fitness trackers and smartwatches have error margins of less than 5% when it comes to measuring heart rates. That's pretty good, so you can be confident in whatever reading you're getting. The problem is with the devices measuring energy expenditure accurately or calories burned. Even the best was off by an average of 27%. The worst was off by a crazy 93%. That means they're very unreliable and shouldn't be trusted. Fitness trackers don't work well for measuring calories because we all have different heights, weights, diets, and many other things. That means we all burn calories at completely different rates. The trackers are often programmed with a preset average height and weight. So, if you're going to use one, take it with a grain of salt, unless you're trying to reduce your sodium intake. Sunscreens have only one job to do, and that's protecting us from the harmful ultraviolet rays. In 2017, though, a study found that many popular brands failed to protect at all, with only 1 in 4 working. Most sunscreens didn't protect users from ultraviolet A and B rays at all. Some manufacturers also claimed that these products had an SPF of over 50, which sounds very high quality, but the actual SPF was much lower than that. The misleading labeling means we aren't as protected as we think when we're at the beach. So when you're out shopping for sunscreen, make sure you look at the ingredients and apply more than you think you should. Ooh, sports drinks, an essential item for anyone working out. These bright-colored drinks are filled with electrolytes that will increase your performance and rehydrate you fast. The problem is, we're not all athletes, so most people would be better if they just drink water instead. Sports drinks are made up of water with some minerals and lots of sugar, coloring, and flavor. Those minerals are electrolytes, which can help our bodies go longer. Your exercise habits, the duration, and the intensity of your training all come into whether you really need that extra boost. While sports drinks can benefit athletes engaged in long or intense training, they're not really necessary for most gym goers. Sports drinks are probably pointless if you're only doing light to moderate exercise, like walking or jogging, over a short period of time. After using a toaster for most of your life, most people still haven't figured out how to get a perfect heat setting. It turns out that burnt toast is probably just down to a simple misconception. Those numbers on your toaster aren't heat levels at all. They're actually minutes. The dial is basically just a timer. That means all you need to do is look up how long it takes to toast certain things, and you'll never ruin your breakfast again. Hey, I like burnt toast. I'm used to it. Most of us rely on wireless technology to carry out normal everyday tasks. It can be very frustrating when technology stops working and interrupts your day. In fact, the only thing more frustrating might be not knowing why it isn't working. The worst culprit here is your cell phone. It'll often show really great reception, but somehow can't make a phone call. The bars on a cell phone actually don't mean anything. The way they receive the signal differs a lot between different makes and models of phone. There's even a big difference between what the bars mean from one phone to another. Meanwhile, watching a progress bar showing the percentage of time left to complete a download on our phones or PC can be tedious. Sometimes they just seem to be stuck doing nothing. Bad news, they don't really work. At least not in the way we think. The system updates the progress bar when certain milestones are reached. A progress bar at 50% doesn't mean half the file has been downloaded. Almost all the files could have been downloaded. The point of them is to give you something visual to look at. Progress bars aren't accurate because downloads and transfers have too many variables beyond the system's control. Internet speeds and network availability are the coordinators of how quickly a download will complete, while your computer's hard drive determines how fast things process and information gets put in the right files. It's probably best to make a coffee or set things up to download while you're in bed, instead of constantly checking up on an incorrect progress bar. Elsewhere, stopping at a crosswalk and pressing the button hoping the walk signal will come up might just be a waste of your time. It turns out that all that button pushing could be for nothing. Some crosswalk buttons need to be pressed, but others don't do anything at all. The crossing symbol will just light up whenever it wants to. Some crosswalks even switch between needing and not needing a button press, depending on the time of day. That said, it can be difficult for all of us pedestrians to determine whether a crosswalk button works or not. When in doubt, just push the button anyway. You don't want to stand around waiting for no reason. With more people going into the water and sharks, well, living in the water, the fear of bumping into a not-so-friendly shark is ever increasing. This shared water space has pushed many companies to try to create shark repellents. This sounds like a good idea that should help keep both people and sharks more safe. Companies have tried everything: sprays, wetsuits, magnets, wax, and even electronic devices to repel the scary fish. The bad news is none of these products are confirmed to actually work. One in particular makes the sound of an orca. Sharks aren't too fond of being in the same area as them, but does pretending you're an orca stop a shark from biting you? If you feel safer using them, then go right ahead. But if you're looking for a shark deterrent that's 100% effective, it's just not available. Psst, here's what actually works. Stay out of the water. Rushing into an elevator and repeatedly pushing the closed door button in the US is basically a huge waste of time unless you've got the special trick. In 1990, the US passed a Disabilities Act for elevators, which meant that elevators had to ensure that someone with a disability had time to get inside one. If you're on crutches, use a cane, or travel in a wheelchair, you don't have to worry about someone accidentally closing the elevator doors before you've had a chance to pass through them. There's one important loophole to this. If you're an emergency or maintenance worker, you'll have access to keys and codes that make that button operational. This is just another example of a placebo button you're invited to push, just to make you feel like you've done something. That impatient finger poking isn't doing anything. Getting a bit warm or cold in the office? Better adjust that thermostat. Unfortunately, in the vast majority of office buildings, the system controls are kept inside air ducts, not on the wall. Technicians install dummy thermostats to give workers the illusion that they're dramatically changing the air conditioning or heat. Some are set to change 1 or 2 degrees, but they're often not connected to anything at all. Dummy thermostats came about around the 1960s. As heating prices rose, building leases often required employers to stay within specific temperatures. Faced with this problem, fake thermostats became the new rage for businesses. They offer people some feeling of control while keeping the temperature in the right range. Now, ever come across some premium PC cleaning software that promises to clean your PC and make it go as fast as when you purchased it? Yeah! These third-party PC cleaners are often made to seem like they really work, but they usually don't do much of anything at all. They'll detect non-problems and list them as problems. The worst example of this is when they list browser cookies and temporary files as having an effect on the computer's speed, when they don't. It's better to stick to the operating system's built-in cleaner. It'll work fine if you ever need to clean your computer and save you having to splash out on one that does pretty much the same thing. Well, that's all I got. Time to burn some toast. So you're on a desert safari, but things don't go as planned. Now you've run out of water in one of the hottest and driest places on the planet. You might think you can get some water from a cactus, but sorry, that's just a myth. In fact, most cactuses have protective chemicals inside them that can make you sick if you try to eat them. There are only a couple of exceptions. The prickly pear and one type of barrel cactus called the fishhook barrel cactus have milder chemicals and could give you some water if you really needed it. Now, if you believe you can escape an alligator if you run in a zigzag, well, I need to disappoint you. This isn't true either. Just run as fast as you can. Alligators rarely chase humans on land. They prefer to ambush their prey in the water, where they are faster and more agile. After all, they can swim at 10 miles per hour. So the chance of an alligator chasing a human on land is very low. This zigzag running advice is more of a joke than a serious survival strategy. Don't believe the myth claiming you can survive a wild animal attack if you pretend to not be alive. Okay, in the animal kingdom, playing dead is a common defense tactic. Some animals even excrete certain odors to enhance the illusion and deter predators. Yet, for humans, that's different. Investigation into 14 different types of animals in North America revealed that, in most situations, it's crucial to stay alert and knowledgeable to be able to take the right actions in time. The next popular, but false, idea is that polar bears hide their noses with their paws while hunting. People think they do it because their black noses are easy to see against the ice, while their fur blends in. However, experts have spent years using telescopes to watch polar bears hunting seals in the Arctic. They've observed them for a long time, even up to 24 hours, and have never seen them cover their noses like that. Unless they have to sneeze. Just joking. Another belief is that running downhill will save you from a bear. This is based on the idea that their shorter front legs struggle to run downhill. In reality, bears are incredibly fast runners, capable of reaching speeds of over 37 miles per hour, and they can sprint downhill just as easily as uphill. So you'll need another strategy. The myth that vehicle headrests are designed to be detachable and sharp to break windows is false. The primary function of a headrest is to prevent neck damage in a crash. Research and documents about the headrest design don't mention any feature for breaking windows. Plus, not all vehicles have removable headrests, and those that are detachable are not necessarily sharp. Touching a baby bird will make its parents abandon it. Actually, birds have a limited sense of smell, so they're unlikely to detect human scent on their babies. This misconception often leads people to leave fledgling birds alone, thinking they're helping. But in reality, these young birds might need assistance. But also, it's common for young birds to leave the nest before they can fly well, and their parents usually to continue to feed them on the ground. If you find a baby bird that has fallen out of its nest, it's best to leave it alone, as the parents are likely nearby and will continue to care for it. The widespread belief that humans use only 10% of their brains is a myth too. Advanced neuroimaging tools like PET scans show that the entire brain is active, even during sleep. These scans reveal continuous activity across the brain, involved in functions such as regulating, interpreting, and acting. This debunks the idea that large parts of the brain remain inactive. The myth that shaving body hair makes it grow back thicker and darker is false. When you shave facial or body hair, it doesn't change its thickness, color, or rate of growth. Shaving just leaves hairs with blunt tips. These newly cut, blunt tips might feel coarser or stubbier as the hair grows out. During this phase, the hair may seem more noticeable and could appear darker or thicker, but this is just a temporary effect, not an actual change in the properties of your body hair. The tall tale that daddy longlegs are the world's most venomous spiders is just a bit of an overstatement. These critters aren't even true spiders. They have been wrongly accused of packing a dangerous venomous punch. In fact, they don't have venom glands at all, and their tiny fangs can't even break human skin. It seems they got their fearsome reputation more from their spindly appearance and as a case of mistaken identity. The belief that everyone in medieval times kicked the bucket in their 30s is way off. Life expectancy is just an average. Back then, a lot of people didn't make it past childhood due to things like rampant infant mortality and risky childbirth. But if you went through those early life hurdles and hit your 20s, you had a decent shot at seeing your 50s or even 70s. Most of our medieval life expectancy data comes from noble dudes, who often ended up as battlefield statistics, skewing the numbers. Soap is often seen as the arch nemesis of cast iron cookware, but let's bust that myth with a little kitchen science. The fear is that soap will take away the precious seasoning that makes cast iron pans non-stick and awesome. Modern soaps are much gentler than those old lye-heavy ones that started this whole non-soap on cast iron rule. Today's soaps won't harm your pan seasoning, especially if it's well established. The old wait an hour after eating before you swim rule is more of a misconception than a medical must. The idea was that swimming right after a big meal could lead to cramps, but in reality, it's not a hard rule. Sure, your body diverts blood to your stomach for better digestion, which could, theoretically, leave less for your muscles, increasing the risk of cramps. But for most people, a little light post-snack swimming isn't a recipe for disaster. Bundling up because you think cold weather causes colds? Well, it's not exactly the air that's to blame. It's true that we often start sniffling when the temperature drops, but it's not the cold itself doing the deed. The real culprits are the viruses that cause colds, which just happen to love those lower temperatures. So while chilly weather provides a cozy playground for these germs, catching a cold still requires catching the virus. In other words, it's not the frosty weather, but the frosty weather-loving viruses that you need to watch out for. Oh look, it's that time again when a Facebook privacy hoax makes the rounds, convincing people that a simple copy-paste can magically protect their data. Yes, the classic "I do not give Facebook permission" spiel is back, charming users into thinking this status update is a legally binding shield against privacy breaches. Spoiler alert, it's not. These posts claim that declaring sovereignty over your personal content on your timeline will stop Facebook from using your photos, information, and messages. Facebook's actual policies and user agreements, which everyone agreed to by signing up, still hold the real power. Shaving a double-coated dog is okay? No, it's a big no-no, with some lasting downsides. These dogs have a soft undercoat and a tougher top coat. Shaving messes up their growth balance, leading to a mismatched and not-so-pretty coat. Plus, there's only a 50-50 chance the double coat will return to its former glory, if at all. Contrary to popular belief, shaving doesn't cool them down. It actually wrecks the coat's natural air circulation system. Other risks include matting, sunburn, and impaired temperature regulation. The coat might never look or feel the same again. Go for a de-shedding treatment. It removes excess undercoat, helps your dog stay cool, and keeps the coat in top shape, all without the drama of a full shave. It's time to look at common misconceptions and myths associated with treating frostbite. Rubbing frostbitten skin cannot help. It can actually worsen the condition and lead to tissue damage. The idea that hot water should be used for rewarming the affected areas is wrong too. Use lukewarm water instead to avoid burns.